More details to continue to pour out on what happened with these blockbuster trades with the New York Jets and the Indianapolis Colts and even the Dallas Cowboys. But specifically, we're going to be talking about the Sauce Gardner trade today. And apparently, the Jets pulled a page from the NBA Luka Dončić Dallas Mavericks LA Lakers playbook to pull off this trade. We'll talk about it. Your phone calls and so much more on a Friday. Let's go.
I'm going to lose my gas-darned bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Let's go!
Put your seatbelts on. Get ready for the ride. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Happy Friday, everybody. I'm Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcasts. If you're hopping on in on YouTube, make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. We just passed over, and I got to make sure I keep getting these numbers right, 8,140 subscribers. So we continue to climb. Thank you to everyone out there in the universe for that. We appreciate it. We have a lot of bonus content coming up on the channel. And again, if you want to jump right into the topic at hand, that's in the YouTube description down below. There's a full article on it. But I just wanted to give two quick plugs here. First off, in case you missed it last night, I had an interview with Jake Arthur. He covers the Indianapolis Colts. He's on their beat for Roundtable Sports, and also he's the host of the Locked On Colts podcast. He has talked to Sauce Gardner in the locker room since he became an Indianapolis Colt. But I think the more interesting part to you Jet fans is not what happened with Sauce from that perspective, because he's gone, although we do talk about that at the end of the interview. It's that guy on the right side of your screen. That is Adonai Mitchell, the new wide receiver for the New York Jets. What went wrong in Indianapolis? What's his potential? What could he be? Guys, check out that interview. I had a nice long conversation with Jake Arthur, and we'll be doing the same thing for Mozzie Smith and the Dallas Cowboys Insider, so you guys can check that out. That's in our video section. We're pumping out a bunch of extra content, so I hope you guys appreciate that. So feel free to check that one out as well. We also interviewed Taylor Lewan, three-time Pro Bowl offensive lineman. That's also up in the video section. So a lot of bonus interviews to come and more to come today. Make sure you guys join the Boy Green Coffee Club so you don't miss any of those key details. Without further ado, let's welcome in our special guest every Friday. It is your mama's favorite guest. It's Bob Lederer, baby. What's up, Bob? Good morning.
Your mama's favorite guest. I've gone from Jets historian to that.
Yep, there you go. See, it's always evolving. It's an evolving chameleon for what you bring to the table here, Bob Lederer.
Good for me.
Okay.
Hey, before we go any further, a
Sure.
belated happy birthday to your son.
Thank you. Absolutely.
One big milestone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And and it's a happy birthday to my son, Mikey, who is 30 today.
Hey, there you go. Happy
Mikey,
birthday,
if you're
Mike.
listening, we can't trust you anymore.
Oh, boy. Yeah, 30. Oh, boy. All kinds of things could be happening at 30, Bob. Hopefully you raised him right, and I think you did. That would be my guess. So excellent. He's in wonderful hands. So, Bob, we definitely want your perspective on all the craziness that happened this week, but I want to add these extra details that continue to come out from all these insiders doing deep dive pieces. Rich Cimini just dropped his own version this morning, which I found fascinating. But Albert Breer and Rich Cimini in his podcast, I guess we'll go in all these different directions. So apparently the Jets and Colts, who hammered out the Sauce Gardner trade, the Colts were the only team in the mix. There was no other team in the mix on Sauce Gardner, according to Rich Cimini on the flight.
There's the Luka Dončić reference.
Yeah, you found it very quickly. They promised each other secret meetings that none of this would leak out. That's more Luka Dončić stuff. Again, Nico Harrison and Rob Pelinka of the Lakers said, "Hey, it's me and you. This doesn't go anywhere else. No one else finds this out. If the trade is off." And apparently those same conversations were happening here between the Jets and Colts, according to Albert Breer. So we're combining all these different insider nuggets. Like I said, Rich Cimini reported the Colts are the only team interested. Albert Breer said that there was like a trust and a promise of secrecy that this cannot get out. The good news is for Jet fans and all these Luka Dončić connections is Well, if you go to the Luka side, a lot of people chastise the Mavericks for not getting enough for this transcendent star, and they say,
and not trying to get enough by making him known that he was available, because a guy like that would have gotten a lot of interest from other teams.
Bingo, 100%. So, sometimes when you do these backdoor deals, in this case for Sauce Gardner to a team, and it's one team, and let's say they have the same problem and they trade him for a bag of beans, and then the rest of the league's like, man, if you would have told me, I would have paid this, and then you're in a bad scenario. The good news is, apparently, according to the reaction so far, is the Jets got a massive haul for Sauce Gardner. Some believe even a bigger haul than they would have possibly thought for what he is, which is interesting. So there's a lot of Luka Dončić playbook stuff here, but the good news for Jet fans is apparently it all worked out in terms of the return they got. I'm curious, with all that on the table, and again, you guys can read the full column in the YouTube description down below at your own time. Bob, how shocking, how stunning was this? And man, clearly we are in the Aaron Glenn, Darren Muji era. I don't know if there's any question about that, but their fingerprints are all over these trades and obviously this roster.
Well, frankly, I lost sleep last night because I kept waking up and thinking, now what additionally, because I made some notes for today.
Okay, great. Sure.
Additionally, can I and do I want to say?
Mm-hmm.
Let me begin by asking you,
Sure.
Give me a short synopsis of Mitchell, because I watched the video that was put together by, I don't know if it's a scout or just somebody who's really interested in this. What obviously was made before he was traded to the Jets.
Right.
And it showed his absolutely remarkable ability to get open immediately from the line of scrimmage, and to get open in the middle or in the deep secondary. He has moves, frankly, that reminded me a great deal of George Sauer Jr. When he was at the Jets, because that was Sauer's big ability, is to make a head fake, a hip fake, and some kind of fake against even the best defensive backs in the American Football League in those days, and get himself wide open. And he would continue the route. But he had wonderful hands. And that seems to be one of the things that's a question mark for Mitchell. And so Sean Jefferson, the Jets receivers coach, is somebody that we should pay a lot of attention to, and maybe even hope that the scribes will talk to him after a couple of weeks about how these two new kids look. So that's one thing. So why don't you tell me real quickly?
Sure.
I'll watch the video later. What did the Indianapolis Colt scribe tell you about Adonai Mitchell?
Well, first off, I'm glad you're asking this question today as opposed to yesterday morning, because I learned so much from Jake Arthur. So shout out to Jake here. Here's the thing, and I'll give the good and bad and splash it all together. Apparently, he's an immature kid. They drafted him in the second round last year. The Colts did, 52nd overall, and there's just been immaturity things. Now, Jake Arthur told me that it's not like
what he did last week.
Well, with all of everything that Adonai Mitchell did, this is a kid that he doesn't do bad stuff. It's not like, oh boy, what's he doing at 3 a.m? It's not that kind of immaturity stuff. It's just that there has been, what's the best way to put this? Young kid, talented, but he obviously made the mistake the entire world saw in week 4 when he made this crazy 75-yard, what appeared to be touchdown run, where he catches it over a defender, runs down the sideline, and as he's about to head into the end zone, he bobbles the ball, loses it through the back, and not only do the Colts not score a 75-yard touchdown, the Rams get the ball at the 20-yard line because it was a touchback. And one of my big curiosity things to Jake was the Jets just experienced this with Malachi Corley, and Malachi Corley was a highly drafted receiver. Again, it was in the 3rd round, but still the Jets wanted him badly, and he had the same mistake. That would have been Adonai Mitchell's first ever touchdown. He's not scored a touchdown in the NFL. So that one that he bobbled out the back of the end zone was not a touchdown. So he doesn't have
somebody
one.
get a picture of the two of them together this Sunday.
Oh my God. They should, because they're going to be there this weekend. And Malachi Corley, that was supposed to be his first touchdown with the Jets, and against the Texans, he dropped the ball short.
So what other immaturity, I guess, is the best way to describe it, did they tell you about him?
Well, apparently he handled this part great. So in terms of he took it seriously. He was really beat up that he did the fumble, and he was remorseful and all these things. Malachi Corley was absolutely not, from some of those immaturity things. So apparently it's been a little bit of, I'm trying to, again, just make sure I don't mistell any of Jake's anecdotes that he shared about the immaturity. It was also some of the playing time too. So like he wasn't getting playing time. He got buried. He got in the doghouse for that decision. Again, he's fast. He's talented. Elite separator. He got some of those things.
Daniel Jones has developed 3 great receiver relationships.
Of course.
And that has stunted Mitchell's ability to get in. I think he has 15 catches this year.
Yeah, right. He has very limited production this year, and he sort of got surpassed because what Jake told me is when they drafted Adonai Mitchell last year in the second round, they thought that was going to push Alec Pierce ultimately out, the former Sauce Gardner teammate on Cincinnati. But instead, Alec Pierce got super motivated by the Adonai Mitchell addition, and Alec Pierce took his game to another level. Josh Downs has been a really good slot receiver. We all know how good Michael Pittman Jr. is. So then Adonai Mitchell, on top of the immaturity of the fumble situation and having other mistakes, penalties, some of those things have sort of popped up a little bit here for Adonai Mitchell, and being able to sort of, you asked for other immaturity things. So apparently he... like big plays happen. He's the guy that's a showboater of sorts. So again, controlled. And I love the Ocho Cincos and Tios of the world. My dad hates all that stuff, but I love all the extra dancing and all that. That's all fun, but that can obviously lead to penalties and other problems and issues, and being in the game and having your blinders on. So yeah, there's long story short, that there's a variety of little problems.
The other thing about his ability to get open, and really, I'm going to look while we talk this morning for that analysis, so you can post it.
Yeah,
for the fans to see, because it is remarkable how well he gets himself open. Mm-hmm. He, by the way, also has 9.3 speed in the 40.
Wow, and
4.3 speed. 4.3 speed.
Yeah,
and so you put him on one side, and you put Smith on the other. And if you can't get the middle of the field open for somebody, you just don't know what you're doing. But that led me to another conclusion, and that is whoever they're going to draft as a quarterback next year, the number one thing that we have to really get in that guy is accuracy, the ability to deliver the ball no matter where the receiver is. Because time after time, and we've seen it with Smith, they either can't throw it long enough or they overthrow him. Now, a great deal of that probably has to do with practice time. And so, you have to have a comfort zone, and you have to have a feel about how far you have to really yank it in order to get it to the receiver when they're open. But I'd say they showed at least 12 instances on that video where Mitchell was wide open and the pass never gets to him. It's thrown 6 feet over his head, or it lands, 3 feet off to the side where he can't possibly get it because he's in full motion moving in one particular direction. So that's a key thing. And that would help a lot with Smith as well. So that was one thought that I have. Now, another one, and I haven't heard anybody talk about this because maybe I've got this wrong.
Oh, okay.
But the Jets supposedly have 94 million in cap space next year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they've got 71 million in dead cap space next year.
Yeah.
Now, my first thought was, well, wait a minute. 94 minus 71 is 23. Am I right, Paul, that means they actually have $23 million in cap space to spend?
Yeah, right. So here's what it really means is that this. So the full pie, whatever. I don't have the NFL salary cap space in my head. It's like 225, 250. It's somewhere in there, and it goes up every year. So whatever
and it'll be higher. It'll be higher before next year.
Of course, every year it's going to keep going higher. So the dead cap is coming out of that. So that would mean that if the dead cap didn't exist, the Jets would be in the 160 million range. So the 70's already accounted for, has already been
Okay.
taken out. So if you go to like over the cap, you type in NFL salary cap space, it tells you the available cap space where everyone sits. So Jets at whatever it is, 94 million for next year, and it's like second. And then it says dead cap over to the right, where they have this year they have 100 million dead cap. Next year it's 70 million. It's already accounted for in the pie. So it just means so much more could be on the Jets plate, but it's not. So it's not minus that.
But there will be but so so the number is 160 minus 90. Excuse me, 160 being supposedly the space that's left after the dead cap space is accounted for.
Yeah.
But out of the 160, there are contracts that are in place, multi-year deals, like with Garrett.
Correct. Yep.
That already, are accounted for.
Correct.
So it won't be 94 that they have to spend, or will it?
It will.
It
So
will.
again,
Okay.
full pie, and I'm glad we're talking about this because I think a lot of people in the cap, it's very confusing, I'm sure, and I know a couple of cap
you made
guys.
it very clear for me. Okay.
But I know a lot of cap guys, so we'll definitely do that during the offseason. Bring someone in that does this for a living. But that full pie accounts for the dead cap, so the 70 million for 2026. It accounts for the money they're already spending. They're already committed to. Like Garrett Wilson is due blah, whatever that money is for next season. That's already accounted into the numbers, and then the cap space left over. So you have cap space. Money accounted for players that are going to be on the roster, and dead cap is normally all the players that are no longer on the roster, but you still have to pay, like it's guaranteed money due. So actually, all of that is factored in. So yes, the 94 million total, if that's what it says for 2026, that is included as full money to spend or not spend. They can do whatever they choose to want with it. But out of that 94, right, there's going to be the draft class. They have to pay 30 million. They have to carve that out for whatever their 2026 draft class is going to be and roll over just in case of emergency fund, like we all have at our house, the rainy glass jar above the fridge. So there's a few things that have to be accounted for in that 94. So it's not a 94 million spending spree. There's going to be some of it that has to be, sort of put aside for different matters. But yes, I mean, the Jets are going to have a lot of money to spend. That's true.
Okay. So that was my first thought, because
Sure.
to me that was going to impress everybody with how
that would have been terrible if you were right. I mean, 20 million.
Yeah,
Oh
well,
boy.
Okay. Now let's talk about the big picture, because that's really what this is all about.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah.
It's really funny. I watched when I get up in the morning here before you were even on.
Yeah.
One of the first things I watch, even though my wife's not pleased with it, is I turn on Boomer and Gio.
Oh yes.
And Boomer the other day, the day after Wednesday,
oh boy,
was saying, well, okay, this is no big deal. This happens all the time. Teams that are going nowhere, that haven't really achieved anything with the people they have, they'll just tear it up and start all over again. I went, oh, I'm surprised to hear him say that.
Yeah.
But okay. But here's where I look at it. I agree with everybody. Can we really trust Aaron Glenn?
Sure.
To find the right quarterback and to make the right decisions, not only on draft day, but in free agency and such. Although my first reaction on Tuesday when I heard this, and I heard this from my son, Mikey, whose birthday it is today, who is a Colts fan. He called me up and said, hey, Dad, did you hear the news? And I went, well, what news? Did the Jets make a trade or pick up somebody? Well, they didn't pick up somebody. They traded somebody. They traded Sauce. I said, what? You're kidding. No, there's no way. And he said, yeah, it's being reported by, and he showed me, and he told me, and I looked it up. And I said, yeah. I said, they traded him to Indianapolis? What'd they get? He said, well, they're getting 2 first-round draft picks. I said, that's crazy. The Colts this year, who knows next year, the Colts this year are going to pick like one of the last 5 teams.
Probably, yeah.
In the first round. That draft
so.
pick, frankly, Paul, that draft pick is probably going to be something they use to deal to get to draft earlier in the round.
Sure.
Okay. Because I don't know what, you can get a good pick at 25.
For sure.
You know that can happen.
Yeah.
But you got to have darn good scouts who really know what they're doing. And it has to be a deep draft. And supposedly, as we've heard this year already, it's the 2027 draft that is incredibly deep. That's with talent at a lot of important positions.
Yeah.
So do I trust Aaron Glenn? No. I have more respect for Muji, but we talked last week about their scouts.
Yeah.
And that's really what it comes down to, because in the end, you not only obviously at Jet headquarters in Florham Park, you're watching videos. All the top brass is doing that, including Muji and Aaron Glenn, and they're making decisions on that. But it seems to me you have to rely heavily on your regional scouts who first find these guys. And obviously, we're talking beyond the quarterbacks and that sort of thing. Find these guys and highly recommend them. How strongly do you recommend them? What do you know about them personally? What do you know about them off the field? Are they good guys? Are they team players? Et cetera, et cetera. So the picks are going to be incredibly important. But here's another point. Aaron Glenn is trying, a lot of people say, to duplicate what they did in Detroit.
Yeah.
And what they do in Detroit, they broke up the team because it wasn't winning. And what did they do? They traded Stafford to the Rams.
Yeah.
And they got a package.
Sure.
Which
Massive.
included the quarterback they have today. But regardless of whether the Jets did that or not, they basically said, hey, guys, we're starting all over again. And Detroit obviously was terrible until the regime really got hold and such. But in the annals of the New York Football Jets club, I couldn't get out of my mind last night when, from Weeb Eubank to the present, have they ever broken up the gang and started all over and succeeded when they started all over?
That's a key point. That's a key point there.
Exactly. Weeb started with nothing. He got all the old Titans players, had no college draft because the Titans hadn't signed any guys out of school that year. And he slowly, over the next 6 years, he built a team position by position, and they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Woo.
Okay, whoopee. Now, until the era of Walt Michaels, they were down in the dumps again. But Walt Michaels also built from the draft, because I think his first 2 or 3 years as the Jets coach, they were awful. But slowly but surely, he built up a pretty formidable team. And they didn't go to the Super Bowl. They should have, except for the Miami Dolphins letting the field get wet, which would have put Walt Michaels in the annals of Jet stardom. But unfortunately, instead, he got fired, and he got laced with accusations of being drunk, which wasn't the case. Then you go forward to the Parcells era, and he didn't break up the team either. It was when he was leaving that they broke up the team, and they traded Keyshawn and a couple of other deals so they could get 3 first-round draft picks. Okay, that didn't get them anywhere with the succeeding coaches. Next, you go to Rex. Rex didn't get rid of anybody. Rex kept bringing in his own people, his own guys, and they made one big deal. And again, my memory is screwing up on me. You know, I'm finding out as I get older, I'm terrible. I can't remember names. I have a friend who's got a similar malady. He knows names, but he can't remember adjectives and adverbs.
Oh, well. You guys combined together, and that's
the Jets went. When the Jets were at their best, they went out and they got the wide receiver from Cleveland,
Braylon Edwards, baby.
Yeah, in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Okay, but he didn't do a dumperoo and start to build from scratch. And so here we are today. This is what we've decided to do. Yeah. There's no history of it working for us. If Detroit never gets to the Super Bowl, they're never going to be credited with having done what they did, dumperoo and building from within. They used the draft picks beautifully.
Yeah,
they built their offensive line and their defensive line, and really built the team that they have today that way. So I have real doubts about whether this can work and how painstakingly you have to put the pieces, in place one by one. And as several people have pointed out, much smarter than me, there's no guarantee that the choices they make with the draft picks they got are going to be, really good players. Now, I like to believe that when you have a very high pick in the first round, as they will this year, that hopefully they're going to, get the kind of player they want. And it may also be that They don't like these quarterbacks as much as they like next year's. But
Possible.
are they willing to go into next year without a new quarterback and just go through with the Justin Fields experience again? I can't see how they can do that. And I don't know what Woody thinks he's doing. He couldn't have picked a worse time to raise prices on tickets for next year a week before they basically did the dumperoo.
Yeah.
No matter what they got in draft picks, fans just don't want to watch this stuff. And, if you really bring in 2 or 3 talented people next year who stand out like the 3 kids that we got 3 years ago, then it may be a little bit different. You have something to point to. Well, look who we got and this and that, and our quarterback looks good. But if they're also smart, as I think a lot of us agree, including yourself, you don't start that quarterback next year. You just don't. In fact, I'm the new self-appointed president of the Joe Flacco for Jets #1 quarterback for next year.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, but I mean, look what the guy can do when you give him time to throw the ball.
But
and they're going to have hopefully a better offensive line.
Yeah,
he's certainly more reliable week to week than Justin Fields is.
Well,
and I think he's the kind of guy, because that's why he keeps going team to team, as a team player that will sit and work with the other quarterbacks. He's not just there for himself. You saw how he ran out of the tent against us 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
When they needed him, even though he wasn't 100%, he was far from 100%, but he wasn't going to let the opportunity get away from him to take him downfield and hopefully win the game. So there are other things that I probably will want to bring up today, but those were my big picture things. I didn't want to repeat what everybody else is saying.
I appreciate that.
And I hope I've done that this morning.
Well, here's this. Again, check out Rich Cimini's full column. Again, he did a deep dive piece for ESPN this morning. And one of the big factors is like Woody Johnson. Because when Woody Johnson spoke at the league meetings in New York City, one of the things he said, and he said a lot in 7.5 minutes, is he said, wow, the thing I'm happy about is, thank God we locked in that Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson guy. Great talents. Glad to have them. 3 weeks later, psych, they're traded. So you would imagine, oh boy, how did that conversation go? And AG and Darren Muji, knock, knock, knock. Hey, Mr. Johnson, want to float something by you. Apparently, it went very well. Here is from Rich Cimini and his sourcing in the piece this morning. Again, everything I just said about the great talents, New York City, and all that jazz. And try to imagine Woody Johnson's reaction. This is Rich Cimini speaking. Only 2 weeks after making that comment, his top football lieutenants informed him of their plans to trade Gardner. It wasn't what you might have expected. Johnson, known in the past for meddling, was pragmatic and professed his faith in Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn, according to a team source. So apparently, which again, if anyone out there in the universe is like, AG is going to get fired after 1 year, Muji's going to get the can. What does that tell you? I think not. He is all in on this regime. And for better or for worse, folks, I tweeted this out last night and I will say it again. Because the Jets have this in-house documentary. It's called The Runway. Boy, if they could have a different name change, if they would have known how this season was going to go, because the season has been a runway from hell. And in that documentary at the end, they're showing clips from the most recent footage that they have, which was the Jets-Bengals game. Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn are embracing the locker room. Aaron Glenn says, hey, Mooch, get your ass in here. And they all high-five, hug in this emotional moment for like 15 seconds that they put on there. And I say, folks, what we just see, our fate as Jet fans are in the hands of these men over the next 2 off seasons. They have 5 first-round picks, and as Bob put the number, I wrote it down here officially, $1 billion that they have over the next 2 off seasons to spend on players. Our fate's in their hands. What they're going to do over this upcoming offseason and the next one will decide the next decade of Jets football. No pressure. And we have to hope that they make the right decisions and make the right choices. So that's it. Straight up.
My wife tells me every week to shut up and let the other person finish.
Yeah.
Every week. And so I just did. And I have
Thank
2
you.
points to make.
Oh, please.
Number one, Woody's reaction.
Yeah.
Woody is the teapot on the stovetop. And the temperature hasn't gotten to the point where you hear whistling. Let's see what his his non-involvement becomes as things don't progress as fast as he wants them to do. And I don't, nobody can really expect, any big, improvement next year. Hopefully there'll be some, but not a lot. Secondly, everybody remembers the name of the captain of the Titanic. I think it was Captain White. I think that's what his name was.
All right.
So we know the names of the captains and the second in commands. This is not to say that I don't have confidence in my team.
Okay.
After all, they did win the Super Bowl once.
Yeah, I heard.
And by the way, here's a couple of other points that are not related directly to this.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
I understand on Sunday.
Yeah,
they want everybody to wear a Nick Mangold.
Yes, they're doing a tribute for Nick Mangold. Apparently, a beautiful tribute they have planned for him, which is amazing.
Hey, Woody, I know you're watching.
Okay, yeah,
Matt
let me
Snell.
give you a full screen. Yeah, go ahead.
Matt Snell, Woody, please wake up. Okay, you're paying tribute to a great Jet player in Nick Mangold. One of the two best centers the team has ever had, maybe the best, according to others who saw him play and competed against him. He was head and shoulders above even some of the best centers in the National Football League. But Matt Snell is sitting out there. He's 84 years old. And no matter what you've done so far to try to bring him in, to try to coax him, to try to show him that the team from the top management down loves him. And look, he's carrying the ball right here over my right shoulder, left on the screen. Come on, wake up, and talk to me. You can reach me through Paul, and I'll give you some ideas. And I know where he lives. But to continue to ignore what's going on with Matt, because I know one of these days we're going to get an alert during the day, or you'll pick up the newspaper in the morning and it'll say that Matt Snell has passed away. And that will be, as we say I think in Yiddish, a shanda. Back to you, Paul.
I appreciate the message. We'll see if, again, any of that can change, or as NC Green says, has the ship sailed? Hopefully not, because
it hasn't, as long as he's still breathing.
100%, which is what I was just going to say.
Even if he were then too ill, and who knows? But he was in pretty good shape. He told me when I last spoke with him that he was having his heart checked out and whatever. But he was 80 years old, and that's not unusual.
Sure.
They were giving him stress tests, but he's still around. And I think his first reaction is going to be, go away, I'm not interested. But that's why you have to show more persistence than that. You can't just take, his first reaction, because his first reaction is going to be 70 years of bitterness about what's gone on to this point.
Let me ask you this, Bob. We've talked about this before, and I think I've seen some people are talking about it in the comment section. Are we past the point of, sure, I get what you're saying and what we've been saying for a while, like, hey, man, like Matt may give some initial get out of here, but like if you push him enough, he's eventually like, you know what, I'd love to be honored. Let's get honored. What if he just really doesn't want to be honored? And hey, man, no.
Well, he's now, as far as I know, he's now living with his son.
Okay.
And I believe his wife is still living with him as well.
Okay.
And you and I both know what impact other close members of your family can have when you say one thing and they say, but Paul. And in my case, hey, stupid, shut up and listen to me.
Yeah.
I can't believe that his son and his wife wouldn't try to intercede and say, hey, they're really serious. And they really want you to have a day and to get a salute, and they want to do this and they want to do that. And, at this point, giving them a car doesn't mean anything. It would
imagine not, right?
It would have meant something 40 years ago. Okay. Yeah. But there are other things they can do to honor him. They can give, for instance, they can give away Matt Snell, T-shirts or jerseys
Sure.
one Sunday when they do honor him, and have everybody in the ballpark wearing it. And how would that be? What kind of an impact would that have, on Matt and on all Jet fans, many of whom don't even remember who Matt Snell was or why he deserves to be honored.
Yeah. There again, we'll see if Woody changes his tune on that. We'll have to see.
It's going to take. I'm still going to try to reach out to Eisen, because Rich has been talking a lot about the Jets
Yes,
for all the good reasons and
Sure,
bad
right.
reasons, and hopefully that, because he's even more tightly affiliated with the NFL than he ever was, and maybe he has some ways of reaching out to people who can reach out to him. I mean, for instance, and this is not something that the commissioner would normally do, but the commissioner might tap Woody on the shoulder and say, "Hey, Woody, can we talk? I got something. It's not earth-shaking to your franchise that would really make your franchise look good and make you look good." And apparently everybody in the NFL listens to the commissioner, no matter what he has to say about whatever subject he wants to give you his opinion about.
I imagine so, with him being the boss and whatnot. Bob, is there anything else? I know you said you took notes. I want to make sure I don't pass over any of your notes before we get
Well,
to
let's
the
see.
fans.
I want to see what Sean Jefferson, the Jets receivers coach, is able to do with Mitchell, and with the other gentleman they got from Philadelphia.
John Mechie III.
And I read something. Yeah, I read yesterday, and you probably read the column too. Michael Nania wrote about.
I have not. No. What's up?
Okay, well, Michael Nania yesterday wrote that Fields has got to throw caution to the wind and start throwing the ball.
All right.
And the Jets need to tell him, "Don't worry if you get intercepted a couple of times. It's okay."
Okay. All right.
He said, "You just got to start winging it." And as I said last week, be careful for what you wish.
That's true.
Because he's got a tendency to make bad throws. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the times, all the time so far this year, it hasn't been interceptions. It's just been overthrows, underthrows, throws too far to either side.
Sure.
And he's got a fumble problem too, which we have seen a little bit of.
Yes.
But they've tried to contain him in this new let him rip offense, which is what Glenn said they were going to do. Let him be a quarterback for the first time.
They did say that, yeah.
He's not playing the way he's playing because it's his decision. That's how they want him to play. And I think that's why you're not seeing a lot of criticism, from Aaron Glenn or anybody else in the organization, who's on the coaching staff, because he's doing what they want him to do. Now, he may not be doing it well. That's pretty clear.
Sure.
But I noticed, I said this last week as well.
Uh-huh.
Go back and watch the video of the Cincinnati game.
Yep.
He didn't have his number one receiver.
He did not.
So what did he do? Well, against the worst defense in the NFL in decades, he threw the ball to everybody else. But what I noticed was that he was not again projecting across the field. He was thrown to the first guy that he wanted to do, that he had in his sights, because he doesn't have the ability to scan and to go to number 2 and, God forbid, to number 3 before he's going to get sacked. I don't think a lot of the sacks that he's gotten this year are necessarily the fault of the offensive line. Some of them obviously are. And this week against Cleveland, they've really got, they got the sack artist of the league playing against them. So our tackles are going to be, really, really pressured and tested to see what they can do. And hopefully, they will use their running backs as backups just in case, because I was really impressed, with how well they picked up blitzes.
Yes.
Against Cincinnati. And the running backs, wow, a couple of them, I looked at him and I said, this guy took lessons from Emerson Boozer, because he was just taking him and hitting him right in the numbers and actually dumping him upside down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you got to do. So Fields has still got to learn to quickly go from 1 to 2. I'm not even going to worry about number 3, but there are always receivers open. But you have to have the capability to scan the field and look at more than one guy. Because the minute you look at just one guy, it's over. If you can't throw the ball away, and that can be fine for one down here or there, You can't do it all the time, but you have to be able to hit the open receiver. And there's, as Indy said early in the season, there's always going to be the running back over the middle, the tight end. In this case, the Jets have wide receivers who Cleveland will have absolutely no respect for because they don't have any book on them. They have no idea what they're capable of doing. Now, maybe Mitchell a little bit because Cleveland has played Indianapolis.
Well, right, yeah,
on a regular basis, so they know him. But I don't want Fields to go crazy. I just want them to do what they have to do. And you know it's really strange when you get old. You get hearing aids, and my hearing aid just heard me say something.
I heard it
telling me about stuff they want to show me.
Oh wow, okay.
So I gotta pull it out of my ears.
Okay.
Anyway, one more thing. Let's see what else I want to say about Mitchell. It'll come to me later, and we'll drop it in. But thank you for taking my opinions. You can take them with the same grain of salt that my wife does.
Okay.
But I think I've given some thought to this and said some stuff that I think needs to be said. So let's hope they can get rid of the ball quickly on Sunday and get it to the open man. Cleveland's got a very good defense, and they have very good cornerbacks. So let's see what everybody else can do. Spread the ball around, and that to me is the key for a guy, like Justin Fields to be successful.
There's no question about it. Hey, I see we're getting some membership action here on the show. So Philly Noodles, appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yes.
See you later, Philly.
Will be exercising his right to call into the show here in just a minute. By the way, that membership went to Just for Fun, so appreciate that. Thank you, Philly, so much. And by the way, for all of you guys that decide to gift memberships this month, which I'll add to the raffle total, is this beautiful prize, an autographed Marty Lyons Alabama jersey signed to the Boy Green Coffee Club. He has Roll Tide on there, his signature, of course, the 93, his jersey number, and all his accomplishments, playing for the Jets from 79 to 89, being a first-round pick, part of the New York Sack Exchange, former Man of the Year, College Football Hall of Fame, and, of course, the Jets Ring of Honor 2013. So this beautiful jersey will be gifted on December 1st. So every raffle ticket you guys send in will give you a chance to win this. That is only $3 a piece. So either gift the Boy Green Coffee Club membership or send in your super chat questions. One of the best prizes we've had in this show's history. Shout out to the Marty Lyons Foundation that does absolutely good work. And thank you for the jersey. So the Marty Lyons autographed jersey, baby. So make sure you guys get in the running. It's going to be pretty sweet. Philly, you just got a raffle ticket for that as well. Before we go to the phone lines here, I see Philly Noodles also sent in a member shout out. He's got a message to share here on the show. All right, let's go to Philly.
Wow.
Jets have enough picks to take no shot they need. Oh boy, this is going to take some hieroglyphic interpretation here. All right, member for 60 months. Okay, Jets have enough picks. All right, I understand that.
Got that.
To take any shot they need. Oh, I see. Any. All these kids. These lingo. I don't understand what any of this means. Now I get it. Jets have enough picks to take any shot they want. Let's effing go. I see. That is true. The Jets do have the flexibility, and that's what's going to be the debate point for the next insert amount of months. Do the Jets just draft a quarterback in 2026 and we figure it all out? Do they trade for a veteran? Does a veteran suddenly become available and the Jets are first in line there? Do they wait till 2027 to take a quarterback there? There will be debates for months and months and months. But the good news is the Jets have luxury. They have options. In a certain situation, a front office would be pressured. We have to take a quarterback in 2026 or else we're going to lose our job. So guys, just find the best one and let's take him. That's not normally a sound strategy. You want them to take someone they believe in, and hopefully that happens, whether it's 26, 27, or wherever it is, Philly. So thanks for being a member on this channel for 16 months, and thank you for, I did take hieroglyphics in college. So that was a class I did not know I was going to be utilizing those.
I think that's more phonetics, Paul.
Yeah, that's a good point. It may be more in that category.
That's okay.
Which didn't help at all in either case, but thank you very much to.
And by the way, the bad thing is, as everyone's pointed out, we're doing mock drafts in the middle of the current season.
It's tough. Time is tough. We have 300 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. We'll have a quick timeout and your phone calls next.
1, 2, 3. Whoa! Fucking daily, fucking daily, fucking daily. Talking Jets football, man. Fucking daily, fucking daily, fucking daily. Jets Football Club. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. Everyone,
J-E-T-S, Jets.
Boy Green, fucking daily, fucking daily, fucking daily. It's all Jets football, man. Boy Green, fucking daily, fucking daily, fucking daily. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green.
J-E-T-S, Jets.
Let's go!
Let's go, as Hef likes to say. Oh, yes, the legendary Hef. My favorite, the old Hefster, Hugh Hefner.
By the way, the weather forecast for Chicago, if anybody can even try to get out here with the plane situation.
Yeah, sure.
Snow tomorrow.
Snow tomorrow? You got to
Snow
be
tomorrow.
you got to be heffing kidding me right now.
You
Snow?
know what it means? I think it's heading your way today. Not a lot, but in the
No.
morning. And I think it's going to be heading your way from what I understand, from the way the winds blow, which usually are west to east.
Wow, jeez, heffing Christ. Oh, boy. All right, that's a real heff in a handbasket, if you've asked me. All right, well, let's do it. Let's do it here, Bob. Who do we got first?
Here's Hef.
There he is, the Hefster. What's up, Hef? What's heffing around? Hef.
All right.
What did you think of my message to Woody?
Oh, I thought that was spot on, Bob. I was getting there going, yeah, give it to him, Bob.
I
Give
mean,
it to him.
I love Nick Mangold. I love that
course.
everybody on that team, they gave us great effort and great fun every week. But, and we should devote all the time and attention to Nick now because it is so recent and they just laid him to rest.
Sure.
But come on, guys. There's a lot going on in this franchise.
Yeah.
We have a guy above ground. Let's take care of
That
him
you are
now.
still responsible for.
Right.
You
Right.
bought the whole thing when you acquired the franchise.
That's true. So I want to talk about something a little different than what's been going on for the past few days. I want to talk about the young man from the Dallas Cowboys who took his life. And 24 years old. Now, I had sent Paul I don't know if you got a chance to see it, Paul. It was the thing about Joe Namath.
No.
And Joe came in and he saw one of his old teammates and he goes, "Oh, he's looking rough, man. He's looking rough." And then it was the dementia and the brain injuries. So Joe got nervous. He goes, I better check it out because I've been knocked out 5 times cold in my life. I better check out. They saw some shadows on his brains. And then what they did, he goes, "What can I do about this?" They put him in a hydrobolic chamber, the oxygen chambers.
Oh, the hyperbaric, yeah.
The hydrobaric, right.
Yeah.
They did, They did it for 40. He did 40 times. He would stop, get another CAT scan 40 times. He did about 120 of those. By the end of it, his brain had cleared up because he's really lucid for a man who took all those hits all that time. And it seemed that it cleared his brain. And they asked him, they said, did you tell the NFL about it? He goes, "Yeah, I told them, and like they didn't seem to move on it or anything like that."
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I can't imagine why
Because they are still doubting.
Oh, denying
publicly because
Right.
they're scared to death of mothers not allowing their kids to play football.
Ah, right.
That's
But
what
if
it
you
was
saw-
all like.
yeah.
If you saw the movie,
Blind Side, right?
no,
Not
not
the Blind Side, the other.
You know what I mean about,
Concussion,
yeah.
Will Smith? Yeah.
about the Nigerian doctor.
Yeah.
Bennett Omalu,
And
Dr. Omalu, yes.
the poignant point in that movie is one scene where the doctor and his friend, who is a former team physician for the Steelers, meets a representative of the NFL. And the guy from the NFL, as he's getting up to leave, says, "Don't you get it? If this continues to become a major issue, mothers are going to stop their kids from playing football."
Yeah, it's happening now.
And I'll
And
tell you
so
guys this.
So the NFL is still, expressing doubts or serious doubts about whether this is a problem, even though they've instituted concussion protocol and look at the helmets with
Yep.
the
Right.
special cushioning
Yeah.
that the guys are wearing. I mean, what do you think that's about? I
Yeah.
mean, and that's also to protect them against lawsuits.
Didn't you interview that guy?
I was just about to say, one of the greatest interviews I've ever done, and it's a shame, unfortunately, we weren't in the digital era yet, so it's just lost in the ethos forever, unfortunately, I would love to have that interview still, because if you go to my YouTube playlist, you see, like, my biggest interviews, you can see Hall of Famers and all kinds of crazy stuff in there. I'm very humbled by that, but yes, me and Manchild, we do our new digital show now. Concussions, they've been a thing for a while now, but they were really hot and heavy. Like, I don't know, it's not quite 10 years ago. It may have been
Around
6
that.
or 7. It might have been somewhere around there. But anywho, the topic of concussion came back up, and Lert said, "Paul, can you get us somebody?" And he was thinking like I don't a local football coach or something to talk about something. And I said, "Hey, what about Dr. Omalu?" And he laughed and went, "Sure, buddy. Yeah, go get Dr. Omalu." And I'm like, "All right." And so I start going through my process of, because I'm the book getter for all our guests that we've ever had on our show. I get the guests. And so I start going through. I'm like, how on the God's green earth do you reach Dr. Omalu, for God's sakes? But I found the right secretary of another person to get to him. And I got a direct line, and I called them up and said, "Hey, we want to explore this. Would you be interested?" And long story short, I get a message that he can. So we book the interview. It's supposed to happen on some random Wednesday or something. And the day before the interview, I get a call from Dr. Omalu. And I'm like, oh yeah, yes. What's up, doctor? He's like, "Hey, unfortunately, we're going to have to move the interview tomorrow. I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Oh no. Oh geez, of course." And he goes, "Yeah, I had to reschedule a brain surgery, and it's at the same time at the interview." I'm like, Jesus. So I say, "Good Lord, doctor, don't apologize to me. Worry about whoever that guy's brain is, for God's sakes." But the fact that he's just like, sorry, these two things at the same time, I guess I got to do the surgery.
Well, what do you, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
My wife is,
that's right. Yeah.
What do you recall him having told you?
Yeah, he told me on that first one that, again, he had a brain surgery, so he couldn't do the interview. I'm like, all right, no problem. And then we rescheduled it for a week later. But that was hilarious that I got a brain surgery that sort of popped up. I'm like, yep, that's more important. Take that. And then a week later we do it, and I keep giving my partner credit for this, because we ask him one question, Dr. Omalu, at the beginning of the interview. 8 minutes goes by, and me and Lurch, we're in the studio together. We look at each other like, oh my God, this is a disaster. Not because not what he's saying is informational, it's really important, but he's giving a sermon up here. There's no back and forth. So I give a lot of credit to Manchild, because he interrupts Dr. Omalu, and I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. And he tells Dr. Omalu, hey, doctor, you're smart as all hell. You're going to know more than you're going to forget more than we're ever going to know. But we'd love for this to be back and forth, to really sort of pick your brain about this, pun intended, I guess, and talk about this and go through it. Would that be possible? And he stopped Omalu, and Dr. Omalu went, I can't even pretend to do a Dr. Omalu impersonation accent, but he says, sure. And then the interview evolves. And basically he's saying some of the things from the movie. He said, absolutely not. Because I'm a crazy football guy. So this was an interesting conversation, because I'm like, oh yeah, my kids are playing football. Why wouldn't they? I love football. He's like, it's a barbaric, gladiator smacking your heads against each other. You animal, you played tennis or something. So we just had this debate back and forth, and I'm like, they're getting safer. And he's like, I don't care how safe you are. You're bashing your brains against each other. How safe could it be? And I'm like, well, you sort of know that getting into it, that every time I strap on this helmet, this may be the last time I strap it on. I don't know. You have to be a little crazy to play football. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, the way the concussion movie ended were the kids out in the field playing football.
It's the nation's number one thing. It's 24/7 now. The draft free agency, we know that better than any other team in the National Football League. Everyone thinks the season's right now. You idiots. The season's the off season for us. Draft picks, free agency, speculation.
We always win the off season.
100%. I can't wait till one of those times randomly we get the calendar date wrong and we just happen to win during the season this time. That'd be lovely.
So I apologize. I interrupted you when you tried to make a point. Go ahead.
Sure, go ahead.
No, I was more or less saying, that Joe seemed to have addressed his cloudiness on his brain by doing that procedure. And I was wondering why that's not a normal thing that's adapted into the NFL.
In fact, I think that Joe has lent his name to that company that made that particular hyperbolic chamber.
Oh,
by the way, can you imagine sitting in there for 30 minutes, 40 minutes alone?
I've not seen it, so I don't like. For
Well,
instance,
it's, you know what an MRI, you know what they do with an MRI?
Yeah.
Well,
oh,
you
that's
sit
what it looks
there.
like?
One of my best friends just had one, and he told me it was the most frightening experience for anybody who was claustrophobic at all, because you're laying there for 45 minutes and there's this whirring sound coming from the machine.
Oh, I'm seeing it now.
You're wearing headphones and they're playing this wonderful, delightful music and whatever, but you're still laying there and you're getting antsier and antsier because you feel like you're going to. In fact, my friend told me he felt like he was going to die because, and he had just had, some problems. They thought it was a stroke, but it wasn't, happily. Just a seizure, but he thought he was going to die because you're there all alone and nothing you can say or you can do is supposed to get you out of there if you want to get the results.
And here's what they look like, folks, for people that don't know, because like to me, like I have a million books behind me. One of the books is T.O.'s book, and he had this. They ended up creating the penalty for Roy Williams. He had the first ever horse collar tackle that broke T.O.'s leg because you were able to reach in and pull him back. And that ended up becoming a penalty that Roy Williams created. So thanks, Roy Williams. And T.O. gets hurt in the middle of the season, breaks his leg. Most people think he's out for the year, but the doctors basically tell him, I mean, you could have a chance playing the Super Bowl if you guys get there. And of course, the Eagles do make the Super Bowl, and he does get on the field. And T.O. in his book talks about sleeping in these things, and he's describing it, but my brain, I don't know, I've never seen one of these. I have no idea what he's talking about. So this is it. These are a variety of oxygen barrack chambers that you guys can sleep in at night. It's supposed to apparently there's concussion benefits to what you were just saying, Hep, and then just healing benefits as well that help with all kinds of different injuries. So yeah, I can understand for claustrophobic. Look at that.
The one that you were looking at on the left.
Yeah.
Costs $1,500.
Yeah.
But the other ones that I'm looking at here that are on this page and others, everything from $1,250 to $10,000 to $6,000 to $45,999.
Good Lord.
Well, the NFL's got money.
That's true.
The sitting hard shell. The sitting hard shell one is $46,000.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
it's not cheap.
But maybe to your point, they can have these like healing, like I'm going to say it in a weird way, but like a library, right? What if they had like 20 of these oxygen barrack chambers? You're the NFL, and folks could fly in and spend a week like a rehab center and get some of those sessions. Maybe that's a way the NFL could give back to some of the players, either current or after. I mean, that'd be lovely. So
I'd be surprised if the training facility doesn't have a few of those.
Sure, right. As is. Yeah.
I'd be surprised if they have one.
No, really? Wow.
I think you see them in a hospital, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think you'd see. And a lot of these players are very proud, and they probably are in denial about what's going on. They probably think, hey, this is just the price you pay for playing football. In fact, Larry Grantham, that was his attitude about a lot of this stuff, that, hey, it's the price you pay for playing football. And it wasn't until the very end of his life, the last 6 months of his life, that he said, holy, you know what? I'm not myself. I can't function.
Yeah, well, these suicides and these homicides that goes on involved, it's a little scary, Yeah. But anyway, let me give someone else a chance. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Hep, and thanks for bringing this up. I'm so sorry we didn't start off the show with this, but of course our thoughts are with Marshawn Nealon's family, passing away at 24. It appears to be a suicide with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. And just for the Jets angle of this that exists, I promised you guys that we would have an interview with a Cowboys insider talking about Mazi Smith and the trade. For obvious reasons, because of this terrible tragedy, that interview has been delayed. We'll see when that gets rescheduled in the future. But again, that's just to let you guys know that obviously that interview did not happen yesterday for obvious reasons.
He's probably going to be active on Sunday, so we'll get a look at him. Although He has not been the run stuffer that.
Mozzie Smith. Yes.
Yeah, that Dallas thought he was going to be. He played every game last year, and this year it's been sporadic.
Yeah, so like I said, we'll see sort of what happens there, which will be interesting. But again, absolute love that everything is sent to Nealon's family. That's terrible news. 24-year-old should never. That's just awful news. So again, I would reiterate the message that Hef was saying earlier: get help. There are lines out there. If you're not alone, maybe another day I could share my very weird stories in these waters, but folks, just for yourself, if you ever feel anything of that nature, so please make sure that you get the proper help that's out there, and that is available out there.
I saw a story on TV last night that was frightening, that a ChatGPT had helped a young man about 24 years old commit suicide.
Wow, that's that's crazy. So hopefully, like I said, everyone can just get the help that they're looking for. Now here, and again, we have a lot of people wanting to call in. How many more? That I'm getting an alert from StreamYard saying you have 10 people waiting and more people are banging on the glass to get in, but we only allow 10 in. So we got a lot of phone calls, so we'll get to all you guys here on the show.
Maybe you should make the order and just tell the people who provide the service Friday only. We need to open it.
Yeah, I guess even more spots available. So we have 10
Okay,
people waiting.
Let's see how quickly we can go through some of these.
Okay, but we'll try to give some love. Up first, Hop on Pop joins us from Romania.
True story, from Romania. And we could talk about a lot of things, but I'd like to start off with, Marshawn Nealand. I think it is important that people go get help. But it's more important that we look out for each other, that you engage with people, you observe them, and you just ask how they're doing. And you don't ask how you're doing and keep walking, right? You ask how you're doing, and then you look them in the eye, and if you say how you're doing, they're not going to say anything. You look at how you're doing, and you stop and you look at them, you ask them questions, genuine. Because men are raised for a long time that you're tough, you keep to yourself, and men have as many problems as women do, and but they generally don't share it. They don't walk around talking about it.
Be a man.
That's right. You don't share that even with your friends for the most part, because you'd be seen as weak. So you look at this gentleman, you would have thought it was the best week of his life. As he scored a touchdown on Monday Night Football, probably, and just a few days later. So no one is immune to this. So look out for the people that you know, and be kind to everybody.
No, it's a good message. I can't remember because so many people have been talking about it, but someone talked about exactly what you just did. He blocks a punt, gets the first touchdown of his career. He's such a young player. He's 24 years old, and everyone on the outside's like, man, that guy's living the dream. He's at the pinnacle. Everything in his life must just be awesome, and that just goes to show you that you can't just assume anything. Anyone in your life could be dealing with stuff. So an important follow-up message there, not just that, hey, buddy, you out in the universe can seek help. Beyond that we can all do our little part in our own lives of affecting our own inner circles and making sure our people are good. And if everyone does that, hopefully these kinds of things, whether not can be totally eradicated, but at least minimized and shortened. So we're given the love where it's certainly due there, Pop.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So what did you think of the trade?
Which one?
Your trade.
Well, both of my trades is because I care about the Jets deeply. I will tell you that the Jets committed a crime against the Indianapolis Colts. During Muji should be arrested. In every major statistical category, Sauce Gardner has gotten worse year over year. And this year he was on record, on pace. This is not hatred. These are facts. Go look it up of where he ranks out in every major category, right? And it was his worst year. I'm not saying that doesn't make him still a decent cornerback. It's just it looks like his talent is lagging. It's falling off. That's what it looks like. And
he's
it's only
getting
the
more,
stats that tell you that.
he's getting more fragile too, because he's had injury problems this year that he's never had before.
And I would share with you that little known fact, and people will be shocked by this. He was on his rookie year, he was one of the best tackling corners in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And tackling's not the biggest thing. It's just another data point, and he is more fragile, comes off the field. But as the most important stats for cornerbacks, he's gotten worse. They gave him two first-round picks. Arguably, one would have been, but the Colts, they felt it was a need. So I do think that the Colts definitely overpaid. The Jets reaped the benefit of it. So good for the Jets. With all that being said, good for the Jets. Good luck to Sauce. But we talked about it a year ago. I was shocked. So the Jets did well for themselves. However, they didn't have to burn $13.8 million. That was unnecessary. There was no need to give them the contract. And why did you? I agree that they structured it in a user-friendly way, but at the end of the day, they paid $13.8 million for 8 games, right? And they're going to have dead cap space.
So that's a fair point. That in theory, what you're saying is if you didn't sign him, you kept him on his rookie deal, you would have been able to trade him on that, and then you don't get the dead cap hit that you would have received. Yes? That's sort of the take?
Right.
So here's the thing from what I've read, and again, this doesn't mean that it's right. It's what some anonymous NFL person, they told, I think it's in Rich Cimini's piece, although I've read so many insider pieces, maybe I'm going to start blending them here, that a key part of this deal and the Jets getting 2 first plus a player is that the Jets, figured out the contract already. And that boom, there's no negotiating from new team. We're absorbing the contract that's already done. All the hard part is the negotiating with Sauce and the agent. That's all over. We're just getting booyah. Here's your 24, 25-year-old corner already signed, and let's go off to the races. And they seem to suggest these anonymous, whoever it was, the GM, a coach, or whatever, that if he was not signed, Sauce was not signed to this deal, the Jets would not have gotten this return because it wouldn't have already been built in. That's what they said this morning or last night, and I read it, went, oh wow, that totally makes sense. All right, that's interesting.
And I thought I heard that the dead cap space for the new deal, because it doesn't kick start for another year.
2020. So he already had 2 years to what my papa was saying earlier. He already had his rookie contract that had to be played out, plus the extension on the back end. So, right, the actual extension doesn't officially start till 2026, but obviously there are inherent benefits, right? Like Sauce got a signing bonus and things of that nature. So that part of it, which my papa's pointing out, was factored into that.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll go through 2 other quick things. We can talk about more later. I know you've already talked about some of it. I'm a little out of touch.
You said you want to talk about it later. When, Pop? When?
We can talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow, on tomorrow's show.
Oh, okay. Boy Green Daily tomorrow morning at 7:30 with Hop on Pop. Yes. Okay, great.
Yes, I think it was a big miss not signing away Brees. Now he's going to go away. We're either going to overpay him or he's going to go away for nothing in return to speak of. But to the Cowboys trade, I would tell you that what's that? What? Oh, I was right. I was right. Once again, I said that Cowboys would trade for him. It'd be 2 first-round picks, and I would argue that a first, a second, and a prior first-round pick is pretty close to 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, the Jets did well for themselves. And just to tie this back to the thing I just said, if you're getting rid of Quinn Williams, why wouldn't you get rid of Brees? Because you're really saying what you're saying, right?
Absolutely.
So if you're really trying to get everything you can, unless you have a plan to keep Brees, which, again, we can talk about later. But I'm happy. I did see a report that, the Jets got an A for the trade. I'm not sure trading one of your best defensive players worth an A. And the Cowboys got an F. and which seems kind of dumb.
Yeah, that was
Seth Walder of ESPN, because he
Yeah.
didn't like, right. That's where
Yeah,
opinion obviously weighs
No,
in.
I
I'm
think
happy.
I think Quinnen, even if he is revived, and I think he will be playing somewhere else where he has a chance to win. Even if he goes back to all pro level, the Jets still got a heck of a deal.
Yeah, the Jets did well for themselves. I'll tell you, the Cowboys did too. If you look at the Micah Parsons trade, what did it allow the Cowboys to do? The Cowboys restructured two of their best players' contracts with the money they didn't give to Micah Parsons. So two of their Pro Bowl players, they able to re-sign to long-term deals. I think it was Bland and one of the Tylers. There's 12 Tylers on the Cowboys offensive line. They re-signed them both, right? They got, and I don't know why I can't remember his name. They got the Pro Bowler from Green Bay, and his name is Kenny Clark.
Yep.
And now they got Quinn Williams, right? And they still have another first-round pick. That's pretty good. That's what they got in return for not having Micah Parsons. And, it set them up financially, cleared up some cap space, didn't overcommit. 3 players taking up 75% of your cap. So overall, I think it was great. I'm very happy they signed Quinnen. The Bengals guy, I don't feel very
Trey
good about.
Hendrickson. Oh, Logan Wilson.
No.
Logan Wilson.
Logan Wilson. So Logan Wilson, they also traded for him for a used bag of donuts. But this is what they got.
Do you have any idea what Paul Jr. talked earlier about a potential Quincy and Quinnen in one deal to Dallas. You have any idea what that would have reaped?
Yeah, I think it would have been. I would have been favorable for that as opposed to this Cincinnati linebacker.
But you think how much more would they have gotten from Dallas? Just another 4th round pick or something like
maybe
that?
a 3rd or 4th, maybe.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I don't understand. If the Cowboys obviously trading a 1, a 2, and a player that used to be a former first-round pick is an aggressive offer, but then they're like, "Whoa, at linebacker, where the line's here, buddy."
Right.
So,
that made no sense. Here we're drawing the line, right? It didn't make.
Well,
any
maybe
sense.
it was the Jets who didn't like what they were offered.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I agree with you. We're saying the same thing. I'm saying, so apparently, according to Dan Graziano, Cowboys Jets are talking. They're like, "Hey, we'll take the whole damn family, Quinnen and Quincy." And the Jets are like, "All right, sounds good to us." Well, and they're negotiating. And then the Jets share their press coverage like, that's how much for Quincy? And they call up the Bengals. How much for Logan Wilson? A 7th round pick next year? All right.
Yeah. Let's talk about Logan Wilson. And I mean, 7th round picks are, normally are cleaning out the bathroom stalls of the stadium right after cut day. But, this gentleman has had some success in the NFL. Logan has. He has.
Yeah, sure.
But he's like that last Wolverine movie where, it's kind of painful to watch. But, he was on the worst defense in the NFL.
He was.
And he was benched.
Yes.
Let me say that again.
Yeah.
Logan was on the worst defense in the NFL, and when the Cowboys acquired him, he was riding the bench. So I'm not sure if we'd sent him over a few stickers or something and, a free ticket to Chuck E. Cheese, we might have overpaid.
Although, well, apparently, for the Quincy thing that would have happened, he was equally benched. Apparently, he was benched on Monday, so ahead of the trade deadline, you would have also received another bench guy.
Which,
the
again,
guy that you... Which I don't know. That's a whole story we'll talk about tomorrow. But
from the reports I saw about Mozzie, that it may be a system issue as opposed to
schematically. I don't know. Again, because of the unfortunate. No,
you don't think so? Pop?
No, he's slow, he's weak, and he does not work hard.
Okay, well, those are all terrible traits, so hopefully that changes with the Jets. By the way, Logan Wilson and Quincy Williams are the same age, both 29. Quincy, a former first-team All-Pro. So again, if I was the Cowboys and I was going all in, I would have paid the all-in price to get Quincy as well, depending, as long as it wasn't another first or something crazy, which I don't imagine it would have been. I don't understand how that didn't happen. But anywho, yeah. Pop, appreciate you so much. Again, we'll see you for the Hop on Pop.
Enjoy Romania.
Yes.
Very good. I'm going to go hit the streets. So Gentlemen, have a great day.
Yep, there he is. Hop on Pop joining us here on the program. Appreciate him popping on here. Guys, again, there's 10 people in the room and people waiting outside, so I apologize. It's a StreamYard thing. They don't allow more than 10 people in the room, so
Come on in.
Yeah, so rush in on your – I feel like we're on one of those radio lines trying to get that giveaway. I want to be caller 5. Beep, beep, beep. You're not getting the phone call. So, guys, just keep trying to call in, and I'll get to you guys as quickly as possible here as we're getting through everybody. Up next, let's go to QB in 2027 draft, a.k.a. Go Hawkeyes, a.k.a. Alan, who has been – his name has been pronounced in 7,000 different ways. I've noticed over the last week and a half from – Alan, Alon, Alon, Al-on. There's been some interesting ones.
Alon, I think we have to change Mitchell's first name to Adonai.
Adonai, that's correct.
Yes.
Adonai is God, Paul, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes.
Let's hope he plays like that.
No, that'd be great.
First and foremost, RIP to Marshawn Leland. It's a huge story here in North Dallas. Actually, he lived 7 minutes away from me right now, where I live right now. So just a humongous story here in North Dallas. I know they train in Frisco, and I live in Plano, and so did he. So it's such a huge story down here.
Of course.
We have not spoken about what happened on Tuesday. For me, whirlwind of emotions. As you knew for a while, I wanted the fire sale.
Mm-hmm.
When I heard about both the Sauce and the Quinnen trades, elation came across my face, because to me, both those guys were not as prominent a player as they were maybe a couple of years ago. And to get 3 1s and a 2 for both those players is unreal. It's just a fantastic move. I was anticipating more. As soon as those 2 trades were made, I was hoping we were going to have some talk about our other 3 prominent free agents. First of all, I have no idea why Quincy wasn't dealt. I would have traded him for singing lessons from Mr. Fulton. That would have been fine for me.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, he should have been gone. The Breeze deal is interesting because I know they said that Kansas City offered a 4 and we wanted a 3.
Yep.
Maybe we could have negotiated and maybe got a 5th next year in addition.
Well, I would have told them, you want him for a 4th, you give us 2 of them.
Well, you could have done that, I guess.
Because the 4th that they would have gotten would have been a 5th for all practical purposes anyway.
But the fact that we got that close, right? The Jets are here, the Chiefs are here. They're just staring at each other. But that you couldn't say, like, right, another fresh pair of eyes walks into the room. Okay, Chiefs are at 4, Jets are at 3. How do we work this out? Do the Jets flip a 7 and you flip a this and then we dress it up to however you guys want, where you guys think it's a better win for you guys, but ultimately it is what it is, and we're getting there. That's what I don't get, that another person didn't walk in the room, that we didn't have this stalemate of I'm not moving. Well, I'm not moving.
Yes.
All right. Well, the trade deadline passed. That seems sort of weird that we weren't able to get that since they were that close. I mean, we're talking about
it's pretty clear that the Jets had no problem trading Quinnen, probably because he'd asked him 3 times to trade.
Oh no, I'm not even talking about that.
No, I know, but internally, that obviously was reflective in his play, and I think the same thing is going to be true now
they deserve credit. Quinnen deserves credit for not being a diva and going to social media and going, fuck the Jets. He did that. He could have done that. And then the team, Darren Mujian, and everyone kept it in-house. No leaks, no nothing. Again, the only blip of a radar we got that Quinnen was upset was obviously the Aaron Rodgers stuff way early in the offseason, and that got sort of swept under the rug. They figured it all out, and we moved on. So if he would have gone nuclear, who knows what the return could have been for the Jets. So the Jets and Quinnen deserve credit.
But the thing about Quincy now that he has really voiced his displeasure with what's going on, even though he says, well, I think I still want to be a Jet.
He has no desire. I mean,
no, of course not. Of course not. But the point is, he damaged himself in free agency by throwing a tantrum like that. But giving the Jets no credit. Listen, I've been a boss in the past, and I know that when I chide one of my employees for not giving all effort and not giving me what I need, I know there's going to be a time frame right after that where they're not going to be very productive. And I think the Jets have put themselves in a situation now with Quincy. If they really wanted him to play well the rest of the year, they've kind of put a crimp in that plan. Because he's not. Some guys can, Parcells always loved guys who could take the criticism. And as you said the other day, Paul, could really, play downhill, play aggressively.
Which apparently is what Rich Samee reported is what they told Quincy.
And other guys are just going to go into a shell. And they're going
to see how he responds. I saw Bart Scott's comments yesterday. He said, if I got benched, this is how I would respond. And I hope Quincy responds that way. Here's another thing to factor in, bringing up FL Phil 98 here. Do we believe the version of what Quincy said? Because if we're being honest, it doesn't make any sense. Quincy just rolled up on Monday and he was just randomly a 2. And then a coach came up and told him, hey, buddy, you're underperforming, and you've been underperforming since the summer. Like, whoa, Jesus. Like, how direct and harsh is that? So that's the first time that came up? That doesn't make any sense. There feels like there's a piece of the puzzle missing. We'll see if we get that today from AG. Probably not. AG, I imagine, it's not going to be volunteering information at the presser today, but he speaks today. Like, there's clearly, it seems to me, I don't know who to believe, but there seems like there's a big missing piece to this Quincy benching story that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's GM malpractice that Quincy wasn't dealt. Okay, that's just in my opinion. As far as Brees is concerned, he now holds all the leverage this offseason. First of all, he can ask whatever he wants. To me, I think at worst, the Jets will tag him. And if they can't come up with a long-term deal, they'll deal him. I don't think that he will walk for nothing because they'll look like absolute morons. If that
Correct. So they have that leverage, though, of like whether it's transition or franchise. I'd go franchise personally, just hold all the cards and say, and again, Brees doesn't want to play on the franchise tag, I imagine. The Jets don't want Brees to play on the franchise tag. That's all that. For those who don't know, that number is on the books, and the Jets have plenty of money, so you don't have to cry them any songs. That $14 million hits the books as soon as you tag him, even if he doesn't before he signs it. So like as soon as that hits, so the Jets don't want to play on it. Brees doesn't want to play on it, and with two sides ultra motivated, that should be able to lead to a potential tag and trade to somebody else, or they figure out a long-term deal. So rubber meets road. I think that should help.
I think he will be dealt this offseason. I don't know if they'll get to 3, but I think he will get dealt. Right. The other guy I was mentioning was John Simpson. I think John Simpson, I'm surprised that a long-term deal has not been talked about, being that he becomes a free agent in a couple of months.
Yes.
My final comment is on the draft going forward. Again, there are 3 prominent quarterbacks in Simpson, Mendoza, and Moore. I still don't believe that Moore comes out. I think that he has a under-the-table NIL deal with Oregon. It'll be interesting to watch him this weekend in Kinnick against Iowa. I think the Jets now have an opportunity. If, let's say, they finish 4th or 5th in the draft, okay?
Sure. Yep.
Honestly, I would not reach for any of these quarterbacks, knowing that you have 3 first-rounders in the bag for 2027. I don't think any of these quarterbacks, to me, are can't-miss guys. So if they fall to them and they like if Ty Simpson falls to them at 5 and they like him, they'll take him. I don't think that they will give additional capital to move up to get any of these guys. Honestly, I think what the Jets will do with the 2 first-round picks, let's say Indianapolis finishes, let's say the Jets end up with a 25th pick, okay?
Cool, that's the number I had in my head, so okay.
Yeah, I think the Jets will look at the 2 deals that were made last year. The Dart deal with Houston.
Oh, yes.
The Giants gave up 2 2s and a 3 to move up. That's a deal that intrigues me because they can get more capital.
Yep.
Or if they can get even luckier and get the deal that the Rams got from the Falcons and got a future one.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, I think that pick will be dealt down. Because I look at this draft, and I've been reading a lot about this draft. To me, it's not a really great draft. There isn't really that
26 you're talking about?
26 draft is not a great draft. To me, I think you can find talent in the 25 to 50 range, and they could be as good as guys in the early teens. So again, I think the Jets' biggest want is a number 2 receiver. And to me, in the 35 to 50 range is going to be a plethora of guys for you to get. So to me, I would rather the Jets trade down from that Cole pick so that they can get more opportunities
Yeah.
to fill different holes.
Well, you
So-
realize, of course, the Indianapolis pick will only get you that kind of a payback if it's a quarterback that somebody wants.
Not necessarily. Remember, the Falcons traded up
Pass
to get
rusher.
a pass rusher.
They did last
traded
year.
up-
Gave up a future
Yeah.
first.
For
Yeah,
James
but
Pierce.
by getting two twos and a 3, that's for a quarterback.
That was for the quarterback.
That
but
was the
again,
Jackson Dart pick. Yeah, the
Yeah.
future first was the Falcons moved up for pass rusher. Not Jalen Walker, was it?
It was James Pierce. That was
Oh,
guy
James
that
Pierce
drafted.
was the second one. Yeah, okay, I thought so.
Yes.
So they moved up for them, got a future first in their back pocket. So Rams are one of the teams. It's Rams, Cowboys, Jets, and Browns that have the multiple first and 26. So it can happen.
One final comment.
Yeah.
This is going to be the first of many calls about free agency because again, the Jets have over $100 million of free agents. I had an opportunity to listen to the Jets podcast, the stock exchange with.
Yes,
Gardner.
I've heard part of it. I've not heard the full
It's
thing yet.
fa-
Fix
it's
the Jets.
fantastic.
Oh,
And
great.
I want the same guy they do. And to me, if you remember Detroit's defense under Glenn, what was so prominent about their defense was the 250-pound Jack Campbell who did
Yes.
everything, and he was a bigger guy.
Mm-hmm.
Watch for the name Leo Chanel.
Oh
from
boy, the Chiefs. Yes.
He's 250 pounds. He's going to be a free agent, and the Chiefs are $42 million over the cap. To me, he would be the perfect complement to a Sherwood, more so than anybody else they have on this roster.
How
So
much is
that's
that
a
going to
guy-
cost?
I think he's in the $10 to $13 million
Okay.
range.
All right, that's reasonable.
Again, I
More
don't think
reasonable.
he's going to
Yeah.
get you $15 to $18 million.
That's what I
a
was
year.
afraid of. So okay.
Again, he would be a guy I would really covet going forward. Again, always a pleasure, guys. And I was elated. I hope they got rid of everybody else. But again, with 5 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks in the next couple of years, the Jets could feast, honestly. So
who
always a pleasure,
does
guys.
Iowa play tomorrow?
Iowa has Oregon this week, which is one of
what
the
a big
bigger
game.
games
Yeah.
at Kinnick in the last 10 years.
Wow.
And it's a good opportunity for the Jets to watch
Well, I
Dante
want to
Moore.
hear what your evaluation of Moore is after they play them tomorrow.
Yes.
I've seen him a couple of times. I like this quick snap on his throws. Again, I don't think he's coming out, even though people think he might.
Yeah.
I think he has a $5 to $7 million deal under the table with Oregon.
His strength is supposed to be his accuracy. Is that how you look at him?
Absolutely. Yeah, but I would love to see the way Iowa disguises their defense against him, similar to the way they disguised their defense against Mendoza, because Mendoza did not play particularly well against Iowa in that game earlier this year.
Yeah, but
Always a
I
pleasure, guys.
noticed
Appreciate
his brother is getting a lot of mop-up time.
Yes, and the kid here in North Texas, Drew Mestamaker, would not be surprised if he is the next quarterback at Iowa next year. At Indiana next year.
Yes,
That's what I
would be
read.
surprised.
That's what I read in the Athletic this
All
week.
right.
Yeah.
That
We'll
kid
see.
is unbelievable. Have a good one, guys.
Thank you, Ilana, for calling in. We have 400 people watching the show right now, which we appreciate. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. Again, 400 people in the room, but we only have 50 likes on YouTube right now. That math ain't mathin'. So, people, make sure you guys like the video. That's a free way to contribute to today's program. Feel free to do so. Again, the phone lines are absolutely hopping. We'll get to everybody here. We'll continue going down the line here on the program. Up next, we have Bubba Badshaw. Badshaw?
What's up, fellas?
Badshaw, good morning.
Morning, Bob. You were saying your wife told you, you need to wait and let people finish. And so, and that has, like, what I'm about to say has nothing to do with Bob, but something I do think that people do need to realize as well is don't just wait for the other person to quit talking. Listen to what they're fucking saying.
Yeah.
Like, and especially us, like, we all get on here and voice our opinions. Like, if you listen to some other people, like, you might learn something. I know I have. So, I mean, anyway, I just.
Are you a salesman? Are you a salesman, Badshaw?
No, I actually work for a pole inspecting company. So we look at poles and stuff. So
what are the
poles, or what kind of poles are we talking about here?
All I can say is I work poles.
Okay,
and
understood.
And I got Badshaw from my job, so I got the name Badshaw.
And you wear it well.
Thank you. I'm about to have to go in here to work, but I wanted to say, you know, I wasn't so upset with the Sauce trade after seeing what was dealt to us. Quinn and I was a little upset about, but then it was kind of like, well, he's wanting to get out of here. I'm like, we don't need that on our team, especially. It's obvious we're going to be going through a rebuild year and whatnot. I wanted to say this, and then I'll leave you with a question because I've got to go into work. So my top 5 Christmas movies. We were talking about this the other day. I've got to do this.
Okay.
Reindeer Games. Have y'all ever seen Reindeer Games?
Okay, let me see if that refreshes my memory.
It's got Ben Affleck in it. It came out in like 98.
Oh my God, I haven't seen that in a long time. So that's okay.
How the Jim Carrey's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
100%. Yep.
The Home Alones 1 through 3. I even like 3. Just Friends. Just Friends was one I didn't hear get mentioned.
That's super. That let me
Ryan
see
Reynolds,
the cover of it.
Anna Faris.
Oh, I have not seen. Oh, yes. I have seen that one. Yes. Oh, that's
that
funny.
is a good one. And then Paul, the last one, Swaddle That Baby.
Oh, Four Christmases.
Cannot go wrong.
What a movie! Come on, man. You want to laugh around the holidays? Come on, man. That's terrific.
This is my question. I got to get off here, but so I know we're talking about Joe Burrow. You know the possibility of all that. Are there any other quarterbacks that you think you would be interested in?
Oh,
we'll find out.
And nope, we lost him.
Way,
I think he's back. All right, sorry, Batshaw. You must have got a. Now he's gone. All right, well, I get the overall genesis of his question. So, Batshaw, thanks for the call. And again, keep liking the video, everybody. We appreciate it. So there have been some rumors, Bob. So the obvious thing the Jets could do with the first round picks is obviously draft the young quarterback, develop him, hopefully that works out. And sure, that's very possible. Another possibility is the Jets utilizing all these draft picks and acquiring a proven veteran already. And there's been rumors about Joe Burrow, and he's asking what other quarterbacks could be out there. One quarterback that could be out there, I don't know if I want him or not. Well, 2. So there's Kyler Murray. I have no interest in Kyler Murray. And C.J. Stroud of Houston. The quarterbacks that are on their teams that are about to have to make a pay decision in the near future, but they are uncertain whether or not they want to pay him. Now, Kyler's already been paid and Joe Burrow's already been paid, but C.J. Stroud hasn't been. He's been wildly inconsistent. Would you have any interest in C.J. Stroud, Bob Lederer?
I don't know if I have interest in either him or Burrow, to be honest with you. Because we're in the middle of a rebuild.
But if you get Joe Burrow, you're immediately out of the rebuild.
You are, but wait a minute. You are, but you also lose all that cap money that you're going to need to replenish the backfield, the defensive backfield, the linebackers, to build the defensive line the way you want it to be, to add some depth in the offensive line, to get us the second receiver, to get us a new slew of running backs.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, sure. Hey, Joe Burrow is great.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the reasons he keeps getting hurt in Cincinnati is that in recent years, they've had a terrible offensive line. But
we've got a better offensive line.
Offensive line. Stroud's had some bad games against us.
He has. We're very much against us.
And every time he loses to us, he then tells the media the next day, I can't believe we lost to those guys.
That's true, and I can't blame him for having those thoughts. I mean, that certainly makes a lot of sense. But,
I guess it's possible you could deal a bunch of the picks, but you'd really have to unload a bunch of picks to get Joe Burrow.
Yeah, we'd probably have to see what that would be all about. We have a super chat coming in. Appreciate it, Truman Dumel.
Wow.
Thank you for the $5 super chat. The Colts and Broncos are friggin' frauds. I want Michael Mayer in our New York Jets. Let's make it happen. So a lot to unpack here. Michael Mayer is, of course, the former Golden Domer tight end. He's buried on the Raiders depth chart. They have Brock Bowers, obviously. So I'd love another tight end 2. Jeremy Ruckert's a free agent. If they don't bring him back, they could use the tight end 2. Although
the demand for Jeremy Ruckert is going to be
I can only imagine. Although shout out to Jeremy, he's been able. I really loved Jeremy when he was drafted, but the results of the first couple of years, I hated Jeremy Ruckert. And then this year, he's shown a couple of pops. So thank God for Jeremy Ruckert, but we'll see what happens. So, hey, Michael Mayer could be interesting, but we have Mason Taylor. The Colts and Broncos are friggin' frauds. I don't think the Colts are a fraud. And the Broncos game was ugly last night, but like, you got to win in a lot of creative ways. And I got to give the Broncos credit. They have won in all kinds of ways this season. So we'll see. They're 8-2 and they lead the AFC West. They've got a 3-game lead on the Chiefs, and they haven't played the Chiefs yet. They play them twice. So that will decide who's going to win that division if the Chiefs come back to fight back for it. But no, I believe in the Colts. I know they just got lost to Pittsburgh, but I believe in Indianapolis. I think with Sauce, we'll see what happens.
So you believe in Indy Dan?
I sure do. Indiana Jones, baby, an absolute legend. He's one of the best from what I've heard. Let's go to the phone lines. Oh, look, it's Philly Noodles. Indiana Jones, baby. Dun, 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 dun.
It's funny. What's up, guys? How you doing? Good morning.
What's up, morning, Philly? Yeah.
So the other day, it was on I guess Jake's show, Neil, or another show, Neil, who's usually on your show too sometimes.
Sure. Yeah.
Neil was like, I was saying Daniel Jones, and I'm like, I was like on the phone at the same time. I'm like, you did? I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's what he keeps saying. Yeah. That's what Neil, every time he's called in, he said, I was the first one on Indiana Jones. And I went, oh, okay. I didn't remember that, but okay.
Sure. Yeah. Well, all right, fine. But we fast forward. So I'll play devil's advocate. I'm looking at Sport Track for Joe Burrow's contract right now.
Yeah.
After 27, there's an out on the contract.
Is there?
Yeah. Potential out 2028. So there's an out right after that year. We're stacked with ones in 27.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, you want to be nasty and play devil's advocate, you can give them future ones. You know what I mean? You can give them two 2027 ones and then kick a 28 and a 29 to them or something. Like, there's ways to work around it. I mean, if Moogie cooks like this, he'll be able to cook forever. I mean, what was Josier Taylor? It was like a 2028 bag of beans. Like, they gave super compensatory future.
Yeah, conditional.
Like, Philly, let me ask you a question. If you're Joe Burrow, when that option is up, why would you want to go play for the Jets?
Why wouldn't you want to go play?
Well,
for the
no.
Jets?
My thing is, you'll have him. You're trading for him in 27.
Why? But
and he's saying,
I'm sure he'd have to approve the deal. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, but I think what Philly is explaining is that we wouldn't just be locked into Joe Burrow. We would have an out, like if it didn't work out or something was going wrong, that we could figure that, like, there's a way out, that you're not just right. Like Deshaun Watson, the Browns are screwed. They just have to continue to eat it. No one else is going to save them. Tua, you're screwed. There's nothing you can do next year. I mean, I guess there's always the crazy trades or you eat it, but like, there's the path. I hear what you're saying,
BG, yes. Imagine this. What did we just do for an old Aaron Rodgers?
That's true.
We gave a 1 or whatever. It turned down to be less because he got injured, but we were like, oh, yeah, we'll give you this. So you're going to, give up an extra pick or two? But in actuality, if it works out right for him and he's like, you know what, I'll just stay a Jet. Maybe I'll take a little less because you guys are going to work in better players.
Yeah.
He's going to develop Garrett Wilson. If he's healthy, I mean, let's be honest, that'll be the best guy he's ever thrown to him. Besides
Philly, I don't want to be rude, but I think you're dreaming.
No. I said I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm just saying
I can't see any quarterback, especially one as popular in Cincinnati as Burrow is.
Do you want to grab your glasses then, Bob? You said you can't see it. Do you want to?
I want to go play in MetLife Stadium for the New York Jets. I don't see it. In fact, you already hear the rumors that if somehow Arch Manning suddenly becomes a hot property, that his dad and his uncles are going to tell him, you're not going to the Jets. No matter what happens, if they draft you, you're going to say, I'm not going to come.
Well,
we have such.
But what's Cincinnati, Bob? What's Cincinnati? Like, people said that when Joe Burrow was going to be the number 1 overall pick, like, oh boy, you can't go to Cincinnati. And he went to Cincinnati. And he went. So, like, what, the Jets have a more prominent history than the Bengals do.
So he's from Ohio. I'll give it that. Like, if Bob, you want to be honest, I'll give you that 1,000%.
Yeah,
I said, okay, listen, I'm not dreaming. I'm playing devil's advocate. That's how I started this conversation. I can care less if Joe Burrow comes here. I'm saying to play devil's advocate. It's a scenario.
That's
Now-
fine. Listen, I'm not going to
Yeah.
say it's not a scenario. I think it is.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a logical one. I think it's a pipe dream.
Okay.
But okay,
I mean-
let's see. It'll make for a lot of fodder on Paul Boy Green.
Which I appreciate. So like the video, hit subscribe. Thank you very
Right.
much. What were the chances that Sauce Gardner got traded, Bob, ahead of the trade deadline?
I mean, that was crazy.
I
Right?
I was as shocked, and my shock was the same as yours. And when you first heard it on Tuesday.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. So, like, I don't rule out anything anymore. It's the NFL. Wild bleep happens all the time. So, again, we'll see. I haven't, I've just heard people just sort of bring it up, but I haven't dove in. Like, apparently Adam Schefter had a whole conversation about it on one of the shows, so I haven't heard that yet, so I don't know. But I'm sure that'll be a future episode of Boy Green Daily. Let's go.
Maybe Namath can buy back his soul from the devil, and that we can then start to prosper.
Well, then get the next Joe in and let him sell his soul. It is what it is. I mean, shoot. So real quick, the touch on the head injuries we brought up, like Nealon, God knows if something was going on in his head. We just see what happened when Antonio Brown being extradited from Dubai
for
back to
alleged
the States?
murder? Yes.
So in my mind, his brain needs to be a case study. O.J. Simpson's brain should be a case study. These guys have taken some type of hits.
He was the guy that took his shirt off at the Meadowlands, right?
Yes, but he was also the guy who got concussed famously in 3 different Bengal games, right? Where they attacked him, they hit him. What's his name? Came across the middle, hit
Vontez
him.
Perfect.
Yeah, 3 years in a row, just banging his brain, breaking his head. So to be honest with you, I think CTE has affected him. It affected OJ. It probably affected a bunch of other players, obviously.
That's what his attorney is going to plead.
Hey, dude, I bet if you study that brain, there's something completely wrong with it. Besides,
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're going to. Although you can't do a CTE exam until he's expired, but still.
That's right. So, God knows if there's some bitter jail inmates that he might meet. Other than that, I mean, everything that happened, I think Moogie's cooking really well. Sky's the limit of what they want to do. They can take any shot they can. They can go Burrow. They can go this way.
Do you feel generally good about what happened on Tuesday?
The Quinnen thing hurt a little bit, but you know what? No, yeah, I do. Because what are you going to do, right? Because Quinnen came out at the beginning of the hire when he saw something happen, and Rodgers is gone. Your first reaction is usually your telltale of how you really feel about something, right? It's not like I couldn't take you at your word if down the road, Bob, you felt a little bit better about some Burrow news because the first thing you told me was it's a pipe dream. You think it's crazy.
But I could change my mind. I'm open-minded to things.
That's what Quinnen thought he was, and then what he said, "Get me the hell out of here!" Right? So
he said it 3 times.
Yeah, he started off with it. Is what I'm saying. Usually, your first.
No, and I have no problem trading Quinnen because he had grown tired, and understandably so, of the situation. I just found it remarkable that he thought he's going to go. He wanted to go to Dallas. He's now in Dallas, and they're not even going to make the playoffs. Now,
that's what I think is hilarious.
Yeah,
what are they sitting at 3-5-1, 3-6-1 now?
Yeah.
What's their record? BG, do you know?
What's that?
Dallas
the Cowboy record.
3-5-1.
3-5-1.
Yeah.
So what are we expecting them to win 3 more games? That's actually a pretty good.
Well, but he's looking. He may look at it. He may be able to look at it and say next year because their ownership is never sitting still.
No, never.
Right. Which, by the way, real quick, here is the Cowboy schedule. Because, and I think, and shout out to the Jets for negotiating this.
This is for a second rounder this year, though.
Yeah, the second rounder this year, and then a first rounder next year. And they negotiated whichever first rounder is the better pick, whether it's the Green Bay Packers pick or the Cowboys pick. Great negotiating by Muji to make sure that he got that in there. Here's the Cowboy schedule, and again, let's reiterate, they are 3-5-1 right now. Okay, so let's throw this up on the board. Eagles, Chiefs, Lions, those are all losses. Raiders, okay, you can beat the Raiders. Vikings, you can probably beat them. Chargers, let's call that 50-50. Washington, is Jaden Daniels back? Who knows? They got the Giants in there. I don't know. So let's say my 3 losses are right. 6, 7, 8. That means the best they could be is 8-1.
Yeah,
and that's if they win all the other ones, which seems unlikely. Like, man, this is going to be a top 45 pick for the Jets in the second round.
I see them losing to Minnesota. I'm calling it now.
There you go. Right. I don't want to just assume the other ones are wins either. So
I think they win 3 more games, so they don't make the playoffs. But they've got 2 first-round draft picks.
Yeah,
Sure,
So,
no,
I
but I
mean-
was just saying for our pick, what it matters for us. I don't
Right,
know about
but
that.
for them, their ability to get better, rapidly, if they make two really good picks. And I don't know, my impression, although Myers told us earlier in the season it wasn't that accurate, was that Dallas always drafts very well, but they drafted Mozzie.
Historically, a lot of credit. They've drafted very well. Most of their players are homegrown people.
But they drafted Mozzie, and Mozzie's been a zero.
Well,
so.
that feels like cherry picking to CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott in a fourth.
I mean, go to their pass rushers. DeMarcus Ware was amazing. I mean,
All the
man.
tackles.
Yeah,
And
the
they always
tackles,
have-
obviously Tyron Smith, Travis Frederick.
They draft great.
They
For the
draft
perennial.
awesome. I don't
They
know.
know how to they know how to draft defensive and offensive linemen most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. They've done a spectacular job. Shout out to man. There's
Oh.
so many. Yeah.
I'll leave you guys with this to get to the next
Okay.
callers.
Yes. Yes.
And Bob, BG. So does it feel like they're getting a lot of reclamation projects of first round or like high second round touted talent? It's really odd. Like, I don't know what you guys think about it. Hopefully they could do something with it, but that could be an overextension. But if they're just kickers on trades, it actually feels fruitful. You know?
I'd like to believe that Mitchell was more than a throw in, but we know in the Philadelphia deal that the receiver was just a throw in.
So Mechie, it seems like was totally a throw in, but the Jets wanted him. So okay, the Eagles like, fine, you bastards, we'll throw him in. It sounds like from everything on the Colts, and I haven't had a chance to write this story yet, but I've just been collecting sort of notes on. I'm like, I'll get to it eventually. Zach Rosenblatt said that the Jets were like, you need to get Adonai Mitchell in this trade, and Rich Cimini, I believe, reported that this morning in his long form piece too. Is that there was a lot of like, hey, we have high Darren Mucci and his scouting staff are like, hey, we were very high on Adonai. He's buried on the depth chart. Like they believe there are reasons why he hasn't delivered that, but they believe he has a chance to deliver here. I don't mind the upside dart throw. So Mechie, Adonai Mitchell, Mozzie, I have no idea about. Again, I haven't had the interview with the Cowboys guy yet. But I'm curious, what do you have to lose? If they stink, all right, you move on and nothing gained or lost. If they're great, each of them have multiple rookie, multiple cheap years of team rookie control. The only one who doesn't is pour one out for Jasir Taylor, who they got for again a 2078 conditional 12th round pick,
which they don't lose if they cut him between now and then.
Yeah, so there you go.
All right, gentlemen.
And Mitchell was a guy that the people on your program during the off season had said he's an extra guy in Philadelphia and he's this and he's that, and the Jets should try to sign him, or bring him in. So we'll see. I don't know. I have a feeling he's going to work out pretty well. I think he may not be the number two guy, but I think he's going to be somebody that's going to give him some depth. And hopefully I'm wrong, and hopefully the guy's going to all of a sudden find the opportunity and take advantage of it.
Yeah, and there's Gator McCluskey saying A.D. Mitchell could be our number 2 right now, and I'm betting big on him being a future star. From everything Jake Arthur told me, again, you guys check out that full interview in our video section when you guys get a chance. It's 20-plus minutes of talking to a Colts person to get a better understanding. Adonai Mitchell hasn't been talked about at all. It's all been sauce, and understandably so.
But
for all the first-round picks.
It all comes down to the quarterback who has to get him.
Well, of course, but in terms of that wide receiver and seeing what he has, like you should be able to get some level of evaluation this season on what he is, and hopefully it's good news because he's going to get a ton of reps. We'll keep going on the phone lines. Again, 400 people in the room. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. It's one of your favorites. Bill Ameley's next.
Hey, how are you guys?
What's up, Bill?
Hey, Bill. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. So you were mentioning about that your son just turned 30. And
today
myself, that was a pretty good year for me. I got married that year. Although my original plans when I was a young man was I'll get married at 18, have a big family and all. And it's like, well, 12 years later and one son who's now 35. On the one hand, I'm happy, but someone went to my younger self and told me, no, you're getting married at 30. I probably would have jumped in front of a subway. But anyway, that's another
my son's middle name in Hebrew is Gift.
There you go. There you go. And that's how I consider my son, a great gift that my wife gave. Yep. I was definitely surprised that Sauce was the first to go, but even more surprised at what we got in exchange. considering all the complaints that the fan base has had about his poor tackling skills, about now he's not covering the wide as well as before. And plus, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he just come off of concussion protocol?
He did. He just cleared it at the beginning of the week for the Colts.
I am surprised that
Are they playing in Germany this week?
They are. They're playing at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time kickoff. They're playing in Germany against the Atlanta Falcons, and he has been cleared from concussion protocol because he had his introductory press conference. If you're in the concussion protocol, you're not allowed to speak to the media. That's part of the NFL's new rules. So, yeah, he's cleared for takeoff, literally.
He spoke yesterday, yeah.
He did. So, yeah, he will be starting on Sunday against Drake London and the Atlanta Falcons in Germany. That is correct.
And BG, I did see the same interview that you did with the guy with respect to Mitchell. And
yes, Jake Arthur. Yes, sir.
Even though you talked about the problems they had, you forgot to mention the good things that were coming out of the interview.
Yes.
They're very hard workers. Work ethic is very good, and he has incredible talent. And the only reason he hasn't been able to break into the lineup is because of the other three receivers.
They've got three. They have three basically no-name but very young receivers who have been incredible this year.
Yeah.
So again, to Bill's point, I highly recommend checking out that interview. There's a lot of good, positive stuff in there. Again, that's sort of what I wanted to get to because again, we're talking about everything else.
And Bill, take a look at the video I sent, to Paul a couple of minutes ago that he's going to post, which basically reviews his skill set.
Pre-trade.
And when you see this guy's ability to get open, even taking a step or two off the line of
elite
scrimmage,
separator. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, he is quite talented.
Right.
Hey, Bill, when I was growing up, and I'm a Met fan too, I used to love Sunday mornings picking up the Daily News and reading Young Ideas and Dick Young's Clubhouse Confidential.
Yes.
And I bring that up because I would love to know, Paul, what the previous offers at Indianapolis gave the Jets before they finally agreed on the deal that they got. I'd love to see the progression.
Yeah.
Well, they sort of apparently again you guys keep checking out all these full insider pieces. So Ed Dodd, so this is from Albert Breer. Ed Dodd's the assistant GM for the Colts. He used to work for the Jets for something, but so he calls up Darren Muji. He's asking about corners because they're looking for a corner, and then Darren Muji tells Ed Dodds, "Hey, we'll look at offers from anyone on the defense." And Ed Dodd goes, "Anyone?" And Muji goes, "Anyone. We'll listen to offers on everybody." And Ed Dodds goes, "Okay, thanks." Boop. Hangs up the phone, tells his boss, Chris Ballard, "Holy blank. The Jets would look at anyone." And Chris Ballard does the same thing, anyone. So Chris Ballard calls Muji and says, "Hey, would you move Sauce?" He's like, I don't know. I mean, it would have to be a Micah Parsons level deal is what Muji says to Ballard. Ballard goes, "Okay," hangs up the phone. They all talk about it because they're not willing to do it at that point. But then to your point, and Muji said it kept getting richer and richer and richer. I would love to be a fly on the wall to see how these offers evolved and what they got to. And apparently it got to a point where the Jets wanted essentially 2 first-round picks and a starting level player. And that ended up proving to be Adonai Mitchell. So fascinating. I'm loving these deep dive pieces. It's cool to be as close to a fly on the wall in these rooms as we can be. So, some crazy stuff there. And I want to give a big shout out here to the Colts organization and the Jets. So apparently, according to Rich Cimini and Albert Breer for that matter, so the trade was basically done at like 9 a.m. on Tuesday. Darren Muji asked Chris Ballard, "Please don't break this trade. I have to go to the funeral services of Nick Mangold. Please. I don't want everyone's going to be all Jets affiliated there, current players, past players, everything. I don't want their phones buzzing about this. Please don't break the news." And Chris Ballard swore, "I promise I'm not going to tell a soul. It's between me and you." Muji came to those services, and he knew what was about to go down and did everything, all the wonderful things. They did a beautiful service for Nick Mangold. He left, and then the trade went through. So the Colts didn't have to do that. I'm glad they did. That would have been awful. We need to give proper love to proper things at proper times, and I'm glad that they were able to commit and give Nick Mangold and his family, his wife and 4 children, the service they deserved. And then, Muji obviously had to leave early for the trade deadline stuff, and they did. So they all deserve a big shout-out for handling that the right way.
Yeah. Now with Quinnen, I wish him all the best with Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
But I have my concerns about the fact that, well, he was upset over all the years that he's been with the Jets and they've
Sure.
gotten nowhere.
Mhm.
And my thing is, I don't see how it's going to be that much different in the next 2 to 4 years with Dallas.
I don't know, right?
Because, all right, great, he improves the defensive line, but isn't one of the criticisms is that Dallas's back seven are struggling and they may not be that good. And then the other observation I've had over the years is that as good as Dallas's offense is, they're very inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get from one game to the next with Prescott and company. So unless they work these things out and their next draft turns out to be a winner, I don't know. I'm wondering if just giving him more guaranteed money is going to make Quinnen any more happier with Dallas than he was with the Jets.
I think in the immediate, you're right. Again, they're 3-5-1. We just documented what's coming up in their schedule. It doesn't look great there. The good news for them is they have. I know a lot of people like yelling at this guy. He's the most hated man in America. I love Dak Prescott. I think he's a super talented quarterback. I think if his team's record was any better, he could be in the MVP race with how he's played outside of that Broncos game.
That's a quarterback name. Again, I'm not sure I want him, but that's a quarterback name that people have brought up that might be available for a deal.
I'd be intrigued. I love Dak Prescott. I think he's a leader. I think he's super talented. And while there's been a few injuries here and there, like he is really good. So if you're Quinnen, that's the good news. It's like, hey, man, if we on defense figure out our crap, because the Cowboys defense has been awful this year, is that, hey, we got Dak Prescott on the other side. So this year, I think it's a little too late. But next year, well, who knows? Maybe.
Yeah. The other thing is finally that with the number of games that they still have left, I really believe now that he's gotten mostly the players that he wants on the team, that the effort will be much better going forward. We've seen the drop in penalties. We hope that will continue for the rest of the season. Obviously, as a fan, as a positive fan, I want them to finish 10-7. But I still believe that they could easily win 5 or 6 more of the remaining games that they have left. And I wish Glenn did not walk back this thing about having a team that we will be proud of.
That was stupid.
If they finish winning 5 of the or 6 of their last remaining games and are competitive in every sense, there will be a lot of proud Jet fans.
Well, but he said yesterday. I thought he said yesterday that his goal still is moving forward to have the kind of team.
Well, right, but
the stupid thing he said was, so earlier in the offseason, the media's like, hey, what's your goal for the team? And he says, I want a team that you guys can be proud of. Jet fans go, woo, we agree. We want a team we can be proud of. Then this week, he comes up and cracks the mic and says, yes, I want a team they can be proud of. Now, whoa! I never said it'd be now, but it will be at some point. And I'm like, what? What the hell?
When I heard that,
I was just
hey,
so
Paul
like,
and Bill, my first reaction, Paul and Bill, when I heard about the Sauce trade was, Aaron Glenn doesn't think that he's the kind of defensive back that he wants to build a defense around of. Did you have a different impression?
No, that's correct. Yeah, your impression is correct. Because after all, the fan base has been making the same complaints. This guy isn't tackling. This guy isn't covering everybody that he used to a couple of years back. So I understand that. And then as far as the draft choices go, hey, we did a good job in 2022 of drafting very high. And I can't see the Jets not being able to duplicate that with the haul that they have coming in the next couple of years.
Emoji had a pretty good draft.
Right, and I like to see them go past that. And great, you get starters in your first and second round picks, but let's try and get good guys in the third, fourth, and fifth round as well. And how else are you going to build a strong franchise if you can't hit on the day 3 picks as well as your day 1 and 2?
Something to be said.
Have to. I think Indy is still waiting, and I know that he has his grandkids or something.
He is not. He is with his grandkids. It looks like. It looks like he dipped out. So good for him. Enjoy the time with your grandkids. And again, sorry to all the people. Again, I love getting the alert that more than 10 people are waiting and more people are banging on the door to get in. I want to get to all of you that I can. I know everyone has limited time. I appreciate anyone that dedicates time just to listen to the show or enough that they want to call into the show. That means the world. So I try to get to everyone that I can. So
have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate
Enjoy Sunday.
Calling into the show. Again, we'll keep going down the line here, answering your phone calls. Again, 400 people in the room. Make sure you guys like the video and hit subscribe. You hear people on YouTube say that all the time, but it is critically important to get this Jet show in front of other fellow Jet fans in the universe. Liking the video is free to do. So you people on YouTube, I can see you. We have, and let me get the number exactly correct, we have 102 people of the 400 that are watching on YouTube. Like the video. It's right there. Come on, man. What are you doing, whether it's live or after the fact? Up next, your main man with a Jet tattoo, or as Bob prefers to call him, Carl.
Carl. Hey, Boy Green. Hey, Bob. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, bud? Good to see you.
I'm doing fine. I hope you're doing well, too.
I'm doing well. Looks like you got a haircut, Bob.
Yeah.
Oh, you are very, very observant.
Astute observation.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, a couple of things happened to me in the last couple of weeks. I changed my time that I go to the gym. I used to come back and catch the beginning of your show. Now I go later because why the hell would I get up so early for no reason? So anyway, it's true. So anyway, I've been coming back later and I've only been listening to the show on my way back.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you listen and you don't see the people, you have a completely different impression.
Yeah.
So the last couple of weeks, I hadn't been able to watch until later, and I heard somebody that I thought was extremely knowledgeable, extremely fair, and very pleasant to listen to. And it shocked me. His name is Alan.
Oh, wow.
The man, really. And then I say, well, why did I not like Alan? Well, I think it's because when I started watching, I was watching a different show, and Alan was villainized very, very badly. So it stuck in my head that, hey, Alan's a villain. But when you don't watch and you listen, the man makes a lot of sense. He's very, very easy to listen to. He's smart. And I know last week he said I was his arch nemesis, but I hope we can change that in the future.
As long as we can keep Alan from talking about the game itself, which is what he likes to really go.
But you know what? But you know what, Bob? We all have an opinion.
Of course. Oh, yeah,
right?
Obviously.
I don't think the thing with Aaron Glenn when he first came on, you know, he first got hired, and he said we're going to win now. You got to really put that into perspective. You know, what did you want him to say? Well, you know, we're coming in now, and you know, we know this team sucks. We got a lot of work to do. I think he was just trying to get the juices flowing with the fans. Another thing I was thinking about: what if no one's said this before? What if Justin Fields plays better for the rest of the year? Then what do? I don't think it's out of the question. I mean, it was one game. Let's see what he does this week. But, you know, I still have a little hope that maybe this guy can still be a bridge quarterback.
What did you think of what did you think of my comment about spreading the ball around? And I think that's the key for him is to call plays.
I agree. And against Cincinnati, that's what he did. And if they play like that, I mean, I know Cleveland's got a good defense, but I think we can keep them off balance if we can spread the ball around. And I think that maybe Justin Fields, I'm hoping that he still has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder.
Even though we don't know if he's going to start on Sunday?
He is.
I know. I heard maybe Brady Cook, but, you know.
What do you think that's all about, Paul? Well,
I'm fine. I don't have any issues. I know a lot of people are angry out in the universe.
I kind of tune Aaron Glenn out. You know, he gets up there and talks, but I don't pay that much attention to him. I think the guy, that's just his nature. You know, maybe the guys he was coached under, he was taught by, but
else, right?
I think
the best coaches, I think historically, have the least to say.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But you know what? Maybe look, I got to give the guy a little bit of slack. He's still learning. Let him make
learning, learning on the job when you have to make critical decisions like he does on the field every week and during the off season, to me, is a scary proposition.
It is scary. It is scary. And I just think that I'm of the attitude where I'm going to give him some more time. I think I want to see what happens the last 8 games. I want to see what Justin Fields looks like. I want to see what the defense looks like, because I don't think Quinnen has been playing up to his potential. He didn't want to be here. I've said this. I think that's one of the things Alan and I agreed on. He did not want to be here. He wasn't giving it 100%. I love Sauce Gardner, but the guy is fragile. I don't think he's fragile. Once he starts making tackles, I think he's going to get hurt. I think that's going to continue throughout his career. I want to see the young guys play.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's going to be. I don't think there's going to be that much of a drop off. I really don't think.
You think I know there's going to be a rotation at defensive tackle, but do you think Briggs is going to get the start on Sunday?
Right.
Probably.
I think so. Yeah.
It'll probably be the guys that's been here. So Briggs and Harrison Phillips, I imagine, are starters. And then from there,
let's see what Briggs can do, because in the spots that he has played, he's looked pretty decent.
And he's going to get a ton of reps. Quinnen played 70% of the snaps, some odd. So those have all evaporated, and now they're available to be had. So I imagine Jawan's going to eat. So good for him. And hey, it's a revenge game. He plays his whole team, the Cleveland Browns, on
exactly. Whatever happened to the defensive lineman? I can't think of his name right now. That was, lighting it up in preseason.
Oh, Jay Tufele. Yeah, he had a weird illness situation that was never truly explained, and then he also got hurt. So we'll see whatever his health status.
Yeah, because he was really good in preseason. But bless you, Boy Green.
Thank you.
Anyway, listen, get to your other callers. That's all I had to say, and I just wanted to say hello to Bob.
I am glad that love is in bloom between you and.
Look at that in Elan. Wow.
Do you have Paul? Do you have the heart emoji you can drop?
Yeah. Let me see. What
don't you think? Don't you think that we all have to be open to learning something new, no matter how old we get? We have to be open to that, and we have to be open to change.
No, there's
Boy Green, that is just too nice.
Okay, beautiful.
But,
So
I don't look. I'm not saying that just to say it. I'm saying it because it was really something that happened to me. I listened to the man without watching him and without that image, and the guy's smart. He knows his football. He does know his stuff. Yeah. And he sounds like a nice man. So
there you go. Frankie vouches for him. He watches the games with him now every week.
I watched that interview with Frankie last week, and he talked Alan up. But I hope someday maybe we can. We can. I don't know if we can get together.
Hardest thing to do for most people is to listen.
Exactly.
There's a guy who has a new book. His name is Oz something or other. And it's a brand new book, and basically it teaches you how to listen and how to observe. And
you're right.
With those two skills, you can really be, a factor in relationships with the people around you.
Well, you're right, and my wife is very big on that. She calls me the interrupter.
Yeah. Well.
You interrupt. I'm talking on that really gets me. I'm talking.
No, your wife and my wife, we got to keep them away from each other because it's going to be dangerous.
But listen, get to your other callers, and it was nice talking to you guys.
Good weekend.
Thanks, Carl. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. There's the great Carl joining us here on the program. All right, up next, Johnny Boy joins us here. Johnny.
Oh, we know what Johnny Boy's going to say.
Hey, BG. Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Okay.
We're good, Johnny Boy. You have a comment to make about Love and Bloom?
Love and Bloom?
Okay, yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well,
what do you have to say about love?
Between Carl and Alon.
Yeah.
Yes. I this is like Rocky versus Drago, and then at the end when I guess Rocky wins, and it's like, if I could change, he could change, then we all could change.
See, it's a beautiful sight. And I think, in all seriousness, on Alon, He is. The thing I love about this show, obviously, you're seeing all these different callers here, is we get all kinds of different callers. We have the loud talkers, quiet talkers, this person, that person, this opinion, that opinion. I love it. To me, this show is about conversation. Everyone doesn't have to like or respect or anything that I say, but I love that I can say it, and then people can call and say, "Paul, you're an idiot." I'm like, "All right, well, explain why." Bang, boom, bam. I'm like, "All right, I'm an idiot," or whatever the case is. So I think it's a pretty cool open platform we have here on the show. So
100%. And did you guys know that his real name is Albert and it's not Alon?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
No.
So,
wow, Albert. Okay.
Mind blowing. I'm just kidding. Anyways,
you're so convincing. Right,
first off, the Nick Mangold, the funeral.
Yes.
It was so good. Like the eulogy by Alan Faneca.
Yeah, and he wore the hat backwards for Nick. Yeah, that was very moving.
And the stories that he was talking about, I thought they were awesome. So big shout out to everybody that went there, to Muji going there as well, to be able to show face. That just shows you the type of individual and what he's trying to represent the New York Jets as. So I like that a lot, because I think that's something that's big, especially moving forward with any of the, alumni that's going to be there, and it resonates.
Thank you for saying that, Johnny. Thank you.
So, the other thing, the Burrow conversation. Now, it is right. Like, if there's a possibility to it occur, you're telling me that you wouldn't want it? Bugging. I would love for that to happen, but I know it's not going to happen. And then what would it take if you could sell to the Bengals that, let's just say we have number 1 overall, and we'll be like, look, we're gonna take all his salary. He hasn't been producing for you guys over there because you guys don't give him an offensive line. We have that.
Yep.
Would they swing at that? But you're telling me that Joe Burrow would not want to be in New York in a green mink freaking fur coat, the whole nine, with a giant cigar at the lights of Broadway? Bro, Joe Cool over here with the New York Jets. It's Joe Namath, like all over with that and everything that he has. He's gonna be putting on some J's with that green and white.
Works for me.
So that's my take on that. But I know it's not gonna happen. So like I would welcome it.
Definitely gonna happen.
But I wanted to talk about the trades, because I really haven't been able to jump on or anything.
Sure.
So I was waiting for Bob to hop on.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I'm touched.
Yeah, well, I appreciate your takes. So and I really like it. And there's no disrespect to anybody else. I always listen. Anyway, I just
Thank you. That means a lot to me.
I love them, first off. Okay. I think what we got back in Michi, and a guy that was a monster in Alabama, A.D. Mitchell, who was a dog in Georgia and then went to Texas. And then you have Mozzie Smith, who was a monster in Michigan. But do I believe that he was utilized the correct way in Dallas? No, I don't, because you see what's been happening in Dallas. Is that more of the schemes that they're running over there? Because yes, he might not have been as productive as we want him to be in Dallas, right? But he's made plays. That dude was a monster.
I am not an X's and O's guy. Are you, Johnny, enough that you can explain to us
I'm not
how the system that they're using there is not fit, to his skill set?
I'm not. I know that in Michigan I forgot what they were running, but they were running something different than what he was put in to be in Dallas. So, but I don't know again, but I don't think Quinnen, first off, this organization now with all the stuff was put on the wraps and hush hush, that's telling, because we're finally not having anything leaked out. Things are being put really like on the wraps. This was never there. He's been wanting out 3 times, and none of that stuff was really being talked about like that. And then
that's a part of it. I just find it remarkable how well the Jets have basically kept that undercover from anybody because those reporters are sniffing around looking for a story every single day, and yet it never leaked out. And the only impression, and I think we all had it, was that his quality of play had diminished a lot. And I didn't think it was because he had lost any of his skills. To me, it just looked like he was not going through the motions, but not in on everything the way that he had been before, because he used, in fact, on the telecast, they kept saying, "Oh, be careful of Quinnen Williams, because any play now, he could just bust it open completely," and it never happened.
Well, he looked like he took off on some plays constantly. I always would see him, right, just huffing and puffing like that, or there would be plays where we're like, "Where's Quinnen?" And he's on the sideline. And I would be like, I'm like, damn, this is weird. Like, I've never seen that from him.
And last year, he used to be upset when you see him on the sidelines because he wanted to be in the game. He wanted to play every play from scrimmage.
So now all of that makes sense, right? Was he a true leader there? I don't know. It doesn't seem like he was. That players meeting that they had or whatever. Now that's tells you something in regards to what's going on.
They did say, from the way that some of it has been reported, that from some of the players anyway, that Quinnen has left, that they didn't know any of this trade request stuff, and that he had been a model teammate and everything to them, and he kept that stuff behind the scenes. So hopefully that's all true, and it's not just singing songs. And I would assume it's not, because now that Quinnen's gone, what do you have left to not say? He's gone now. You can let it fly, and that's what a lot of players do when the other ones leave. So. I'm good for Quinnen. Again, the Cowboys suck, which Taylor Lewan, I did an interview with Taylor, and he said, sometimes when guys are on one team one day and the next team they go the other, it's like, oh, Sauce Gardner, he went to sleep 1-7, he's waking up 7-2, that's pretty good. And then he went, well, sorry, Quinnen, not for you, because the Cowboys are not doing well. So that was funny from Taylor Lewan during our interview this week. But I'm happy for them, and much success as long as it's not against the Jets.
And BG, that wasn't. If you guys have not watched that interview, go watch it, because
that's so funny.
Lewan is hilarious. He says, "I'm a Jets fan now because I have hope." Bro,
yeah, and I was like, "Wow, I did not expect that at all."
He was breaking balls so much; it was hilarious. But the other piece, right?
Yes.
MC2 trade, I think that was big as well. So that's something that's not being talked about as well enough. But then Sauce gets on that presser for Indy yesterday, and he starts talking about that he was just really tired of losing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When I heard that, I was like, damn, this dude must have been unhappy over here with us for a while now. And he said, please let this be something where it's what I want, where I want to go.
Yeah, let's just to provide the clarity for that, because I heard the full Sauce Gardner press conference. So he gets a call from Darren Mucci, and Mucci's like, he starts off the conversation saying, "You're getting traded," and Sauce then has those thoughts in his head, in the middle, as time stops, it doesn't really stop, and in his head it stops. And Sauce please, 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 don't send me to Guam, don't send me to some other side of the universe, don't send me to a loser, send me to a team that's still sort of close to here, and blah blah blah. So I just want to provide that context. So it wasn't just Sauce going oh boy, can't wait to get traded, hopefully that happens. After Mucci told him that he was traded, he said in his head, basically, I hope it's to a good place. And I heard Indianapolis, and I knew it was
yesterday at his presser, he said all the right things. He said, "Hey, I like this because I'm closer to home.
Correct.
I like this because it's closer to Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
Blue is my favorite color."
That was also funny.
When he said that, I went, "Ooh."
That's what I mean. Was he truly unhappy? He was very similar to Quinnen, that they were just all they've ever known that is losing. So I say all of what I'm saying right now. How many other guys that were in the previous regimes that have been dealing with losing, and this is something that we've been talking about with the mental headspace that a lot of these players that we thought were talented has just been beaten so bad that their mental space was not in it anymore. They get a fumble that they can't recover, and they're like, oh, here we go again. We're the Jets. We never get this anything. But you're getting all of these AG guys that are coming in. That's a different air now that's coming in, that they're like, I watched the runway, and they're like, I don't care about what happened in the past. We're here now. We're wanting to do this. Yes, the core four said that before in the past itself. Can they essentially be the pieces that we need to continue to keep moving this shit forward? Because I forgot I think it was maybe it was Scott, one of the callers, that was like, we need the round 3 picks, the round 5 picks, and all that. And I feel like Muji and AG have done that. And what we have in Malachi, what you have in Kiko, that's now supposedly overtaken Quincy's position, right?
Right.
Arian Smith, that has a potential to be something that if he's utilized the correct way. So I ask you guys this: the way you're starting to see the organization move, is that something that you're looking forward to, and you feel better about them drafting other people, or are you guys still on the board to be like, they brought Fields over here, so what does that tell you? So I say that, and I'm out. I appreciate you guys, man. Bob always killing it. BG, appreciate you guys, man.
Thank you. I think too many. This is my opinion, okay? And we just talked about people can think I'm an idiot. I don't judge. So Aaron Glenn picked Justin Fields to be the guy. I think Justin Fields was the best possible option that was realistically going to come here. I would have loved Sam Darnold, but I didn't think he was coming back. So I thought Justin Fields was the best option that was available, and Justin Fields has not worked out this season. He's had 2 nice games, but the rest of them have been terrible. We'll see what else the season has to bring. I don't judge Aaron Glenn's knowledge or scouting on quarterbacks based on his selection of Justin Fields. And a lot of people in our Jets universe are. They're saying, look, he picked Justin Fields. Now we're going to trust him to take the quarterback in the draft. Like, the quarterback in the draft, if the Jets continue down this path, they're going to have like the number 1 overall pick or something very close. He's going to have his pick of the litter of any of these quarterbacks.
Right.
He didn't have his pick of the litter of any quarterback in the planet universe as a free agent, and he chose Justin Fields. He chose Justin Fields as the best of a lot of crappy options. So I don't let that sway me personally on how I feel about Aaron Glenn's ability to judge a quarterback. To be honest, we have no idea. For Darren Mucci either. How much credit do I give Darren Mucci that they found Bo Nix? I don't know. Was that George Payton? Was that Darren Mucci? I don't know who gets responsibility for that. We don't know till they get the chance, till they step up to the plate and swing the bat and we say it was right or wrong. I don't have any other indications on whether or not they're going to be successful or not successful in that. That's just a belief system we all have to have in each of our heads.
I believe that based on what we've seen already with Geno Smith and with Darnold, that if you put these guys in the right system, that they can thrive. And, somebody asked me the other day about Darnold, and I said, well, you got to understand, Darnold, even though it was only a half a season, he was in San Francisco, which knows how to run an offense. And he learned apparently quite a bit between the time he had been down, it was Carolina, and the half year that he spent in San Francisco and then went to Minnesota. And if you recall, he bombed out in the playoff game last year. And everybody immediately said, oh, the other team figured out Darnold's weakness. And now you can't really trust him anymore. Well, he's gone to Seattle and he's had a hell of a year. And every team that they've played, went back and looked at the playoff game last year and said, oh, that's how you defense Darnold and take away some of his best capabilities. And that hasn't been the case. He's been really good. So my question again, and this is another one for Aaron Glenn, is, okay, he made a choice. He made a choice with Fields, but do the Jets have the right people in the hierarchy running the team that can really work with a quarterback and make it work? And again, that goes back to this article that I spoke about 5 or 6 weeks ago, that really went into all the particulars about how a young quarterback needs to be nurtured and taken along in order to get the best out of him. So I'm just afraid that what we're seeing this year, with Fields, who was supposed to be playing quarterback, a real quarterback for the first time in his career. Well, whoever's doing the coaching, hasn't done a bang-up job, even though, again, as I said earlier today, he's doing what they want him to do. They don't want him to be gunslinging. They want him to hold his fire. And basically his greatest skill is obviously running, and that's what they want him to try to do. So
we'll see if they can. Let's go to the phone lines. This guy joins us for our watch parties. He's up next. Brick City Jets, baby, joining us here on Boy Green Daily. What's up, brother?
Hey, Brick City.
What's going on, BG? How you doing? What's going on, Bob?
Good.
Hey, man. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, took a week off. Get trades. I'm kind of like in the middle of it right now. I'm kind of in between, honestly.
Yeah.
I hate to see that Sauce go. I hate to see that Quinn go. But on the bright side of it, hey, if we can flip that to a dynamic offense, if we can flip that to a franchise quarterback, hey, I'll be happy. I mean, on the bright side, if you look at it, Sauce is a great cornerback, top 10, I believe, in the league. But I feel like his play as Connie took a dip this year in a way. I don't know if it's injuries. I don't know if it's just him mentally in his head. I don't know if it's maturity or what. But Sauce in the past has cost us some games by not tackling. And Aaron Glenn likes his corners to tackle. So, and plus Big Q didn't want to be here with all the losing since he's been drafted here. It sucks, but hey, we need to move on. We need to focus on Cleveland. We need to get this win. I don't know. I'm with the tank, man. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited.
I appreciate the brutal honesty there, Brick City Jets.
I'm glad that you and Pops are in agreement that Sauce, who was a top 1 or 2 as a corner, maybe he's in the top 10. But
I think he's definitely in the top 10, and maybe you can make an argument for the top 5. But the problems are the problems. Those warts apparently aren't going away. Although, of course, what's going to happen is this: we're all going to tune into the German game at 9:30, and Sauce Gardner is going to get like an interception immediately, and Colts are like, "Whoa!" And we're all like, "What the hell? Where the hell is all that?" So,
since he's been here, he only had one or two interceptions.
Yeah. I think he had 2 picks.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Because
he's been incredible because he has basically just gotten his hands in the way of every receiver he's been on.
Yeah, a lot of holding.
Made completions very, very difficult, so they've gone in another direction.
Because 2 of them I remember, because we had one of his first ones was when we upset the Bills at home. Josh Allen Sauce Gardner tricked Josh Allen playing zone and just fell into an interception. He had the game winner against Jacksonville. Mac Jones threw it to that area, and Sauce Gardner got it there. He may have won more beyond that, but yeah, it wasn't very many, unfortunately, for old Saucy. Yeah, let me see what the stats say. No, he only had the 2. I just named the 2. Three. I lied. He has 3.
You just mentioned Mac Jones, and look what Mac Jones is doing.
Hey, shout out to Mac. There you go.
My biggest fear is just this organization not getting it right, setting us back for another decade. Like, that's my biggest concern. Yep. I mean, I like the move. I mean, 6 potential first round picks. Who knows? We can probably package those 2 picks, and it could be jump back in the first round. Who knows who's there? I don't know. But I mean, I've been mock drafting with. I'm not going to be long because I get ready for work soon. But I've been mock drafting with my brother. Shout out to Hakeem Ali, my brother. Love him very much. He's a big fan of your show.
Love that. Thank you, man.
I definitely quarterback. But what if that pass rusher from Miami is available? Let's say we pick in the top 3 and the Luka is available. And let's say later in the draft, we trade with that second round, with that second first round pick, we can either get our quarterback still or a receiver. Like with the draft. Yeah,
100%. The Giants took Abdul Carter at the top of the draft, and then they traded back up for Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart looks awesome. So there are a lot of ways to skin a cat here. You just don't have to take the quarterback at the top, man.
Yeah, because it's either out of Mendoza or Simpson. Yeah, that's what I like in the draft.
It feels like right now.
Picking a quarterback is an imperfect science.
No doubt about that. No doubt
definitely,
about that.
Definitely. But hey, you guys have a blessed one. God bless you guys. Go Jets as always, and let's see what happens Sunday. I gotta get ready for
a great weekend.
Will do. Thank you, Brick City Jets, and enjoy your day at work, man. And yes, he normally calls during our watch parties, which again we'll be back. Jets Browns. I know we had a week off last week, the bye week. We're back. Jets Browns 12:50. We'll be on.
Those vocal cords ready, Paul.
Me. We'll see if those
are we out of the screaming phase, or are we still working on it?
I don't know. It depends. I mean, when the crazy Breece Hall, wait a second, he's throwing it. Whoa, it's a touchdown! They're got a lot of screaming. So you never know. Again, the Will McDonald play, that play. There hasn't been a lot of them, but there's been a few. We'll see if there's a few more.
Maybe you and I should do a Dallas game or a.
Oh yeah, like a
Indianapolis
maybe.
game.
Yeah, sure. Oh God, I can only imagine how that would go. Let's go to another one here. Philium, FL Phil 98, gracing us with his presence. Good morning, Philium.
Good morning, Florida.
Good morning, gentlemen. I just wanted to jump on, and Brick City kind of touched on the Jet fan fear of, we have everything to, in our hands and we're going to screw it up, right? That fear always does come into play. So it's kind of funny that he mentioned that, because I think we all feel that to some extent. But that actually is why I called in, is that, some of the stuff in the chat about Muji, about the moves in general. Listen, I don't think anybody could look at what they did and not be happy. You don't want to see good players go and all that, but I think when you look at the haul, pretty impressive. When you look at what Muji has done in general as our GM in less than a year, of course you can say, well, this or that was a fail or looks like a fail, but overall, I think I'm impressed to some degree with Muji. And I think that some of the argument that I've seen back and forth is, is he a sidekick? Is it Glenn's final decisions? And even if that's true, it looks to me like the guy who's the brains of the outfit is Muji. That's what I see. And I'm pretty confident that we got ourselves a decent general manager. I'm not ready to, to sing his praises 100%, but even some of the moves like Stevens that we were so down on, maybe he's about to come around. It looks like,
And that was an Aaron Glenn special.
Well, again, I'm sure that they're both involved in this stuff. Okay, but when you get down to like the nitty gritty, the kind of contracts they've signed, right? The structure of these contracts, the ability to move on a player without getting too destroyed in the salary cap, the haul that he got on these trades. I'm fairly impressed so far, and all I'm saying is, for a first 6 months or so, I'm intrigued that Muji might be a very good general manager.
Yeah.
On the flip side, I was an Aaron Glenn guy 100%. I was one of the first guys on that train. I wanted him desperately. And I'm not throwing in the towel. I'm not saying he ought to be fired. None of that. What I am saying is I've watched what I believe is players don't really seem to respond well to him. Okay. Remember when the whole thing with Rodgers and Salah where he shoved him away when he tried to hug him and stuff?
Yes.
I've seen a few times when he was trying to be the good guy, when he was trying to, be jovial with a player on the sideline. Man, it didn't look like they were very engaged. All right. I got a feeling that he's not very popular with the players. Now, that doesn't mean that he can't be a successful head coach. All right. The players coach thing, I think, is we've seen a lot of bad results from that. But I do think if your players really don't like you, that can be a problem. And
Rich Cimini just said on the one thing I would add is I listen to a lot of stuff, and on the Flight Deck podcast, Rich Cimini says his vibe. He covered Rich when he was Rich covered Aaron, when he was a player. Obviously, Rich is in the middle of his 37th season covering the Jets. God bless Rich Cimini.
God bless him.
And he covered him as a player. Now he's seeing him now. He says his vibe is that the players fear him in the locker room, and he says, that's not a bad thing. I mean, because there's a lot of successful coaches that drove their buses led by the fear train. But he said that was his vibe, and that was sort of interesting to hear that, because I don't think I've ever heard, at least in recent memory, a Jets coach being feared by the players. It was player friendly or this or this. I don't remember a lot of fear being struck in. So that's certainly different than we've seen the last couple of years for sure.
I think you have raised some very interesting points about Glenn. Number one, hearkening back to Lombardi, Jerry Kramer famously said, and they say it isn't necessarily true, but he said he treats us all the same, like dogs.
Jesus.
Okay. And yet the players respected him so much that when they found out that he was leaving and was going to no longer be the coach, they were crestfallen as a team. And at the same time, they were committed. They were going to win that second Super Bowl game for him, because that was going to be his closure with Green Bay. And the same thing happened in Washington. He was a great coach in Washington for 1 year, but the commitment and the dedication that the players had for him, beginning with Jurgensen. Sonny Jurgensen basically was just a gunslinger who didn't care what a coach thought. He just wanted to rack up a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns. The question about Glenn that you've raised, Phil, I think, is let's say it comes down to draft day. I think that clearly Aaron Glenn had a lot to do with who he was willing or who was okay with him to be traded this past week. Muji had to do the mechanics. Muji had to do the negotiating. But it was Aaron Glenn who said, we can get something for Sauce. Okay, he's not my guy anyway. Oh, we can get a lot, for Quinnen. Well, he's just not all in anymore. It's pretty clear. So let's get the most we can from both of these guys. Now, draft day comes. Aaron Glenn says, I like this guy. And Muji says, that guy is good, but I kind of prefer this guy. How open will Aaron Glenn be to make the decision that Muji is suggesting, as opposed to being so all in or so committed to the one guy that he thinks is the guy? Because that's going to be a big thing. Only one person can have the final say. And before it was Douglas and nobody else, you never saw, Robert Saleh really standing next to Douglas when he made his pick. So I think it raises an interesting question about how much leeway will Glenn have, as we've talked about today, to listen to what other people around him are telling him.
Yeah, so you guys kind of took it where I wanted to go, which is I'm not in any way saying that this is a problem yet. I'm saying I've observed a little bit, and I'm wondering, what is the vibe in the locker room? And I like the idea of, listen, if you got guys who are tired, don't want to be here anymore, aren't buying in, whatever. Okay, see you later. I got a team to build. I got shit to do. I get all of that. And I'm not saying that your team has to like you. And you struck on the exact word that I was going to go to, Bob, which is fear. Usually guys have to have a certain cachet. Okay. When a Bill Parcells walked into his second or third team, okay, there was fear and respect automatically. That's usually something that has to be earned, right? So the fact that he's an ex-Jet and a player and he had this resume certainly gives him a certain amount of respect on the from day one. But I think you have to be careful, especially with today's players, as to just how much of a hard ass you are, or how much, and again, there are guys that take shit and it motivates them. There are guys that immediately shut down and are like, you know what, get me the hell out of here. So I think that's the fine line that he has to walk. And again, I'm not making any judgments. These are just observations, and I'm going to be really interested to see where it goes from here. But he
needed to get as many of his guys as he can. He isn't going to have 50. He isn't going to have 54 guys, 53 guys that are going to be all in for him every week. But the large majority of them have got to be his guys who will do whatever.
No question. You got to have guys that respond to you, that are buying in and all of that stuff. What prompted me to call actually was some of the chat was kind of like, he's a sidekick. There was some comments about, if Glenn got fired, he'd be fired too. And you know what? I'm not so sure about that. Okay. I think as of right now, and again, this is complete speculation. All right. If one of these guys is going to outlast the other right now, I'm thinking Muji. But, this is just, like I said, just based on some of the stuff in the chat. I hope that none of this is relevant next year. And I've been rooting for Glenn all along. But I do think he's made a lot of bad decisions game day, a lot of them. All right. And I've noticed more than once what I saw as negative response from players when he was actually trying to be a pal. When he was, pumping them up, he after they scored and he was trying to be like the cheerleader guy, they were kind of like, yeah. That's my observations.
Okay. Those are fair observations. I haven't seen that same thing yet, but maybe I, haven't watched the same, angles and things that you're watching and where the players are and what's happening.
You're losing your voice, screaming at the thing. You're not really, I just saw a couple of times, once in particular where like after Fields, actually after they scored, and Fields was on the bench, and he was over there like all smiles and trying to be. And I'm telling you, Fields just kind of looked at him like, yeah, coach. There just wasn't. I didn't think it vibed well, and I saw that exact same response multiple times when not when he was yelling at somebody, when he was actually trying to be a buddy.
Worth noting.
Aaron Glenn said he's an accountability guy, and this week, 2 of the Jet players got the ultimate accountability.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And like I said, listen, I would love to see him be old Iron Pants and win games. Okay, if that's what it takes to win games, that's great. I just want to win games.
Yeah, fair enough. Philium, thank you so much for gracing us
great
with your
weekend,
presence.
Phil.
I appreciate it, pal.
Nice to talk to you guys. Take care.
There he is, Philium, FL Phil 98. We have more people, but unfortunately, we've reached the end of this journey at a nearly 3-hour show, which is tremendous. But I'm immediately have to jump into a new show. I have back-to-back shows coming up here with the MC show, Digital Family. You guys can also watch the fantasy football stream that's coming up in 20 minutes on this show on this stream as well. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Like the video, hit subscribe if you're watching live or after the fact. Bob, these conversations are always inspire more callers. So again, people are banging on the door to get in.
Well, Phil,
that does not happen every day.
Paul, I would normally say, well, maybe we should start the show a little earlier since you have other things you have to do, but I don't think I can get up earlier than 5:30 in the morning.
Touche, Bob. But we do what we can, so hopefully everyone appreciated the 3
Hey,
hours.
everybody, it's great that so many guys called in and that we had the exchange of opinions, which I think are really interesting. And I think it's a little bit more upbeat today than it was earlier in the week. And I don't just mean on your show.
No, right.
But, I think the shock of the trades have worn off and people have kind of now looked at it with, more of a keen sense and a jaundiced eye of exactly what's going on.
Clear eyes. I think that certainly has played a role in some of these conversations. Again, I'll be back on in 20 minutes, but we'll also be back on tomorrow morning for Boy Green Daily with my father from Romania. And he'll give his full thoughts on Quinnen Williams, Cowboys, and so much more. And we'll get ready for the Jets-Browns game as well coming up here. And then one final message here. I see we have Craig CF Mechanics. Love this show. Sitting here working and eating Christmas Star cookies. No better combination in the world. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Bob, we'll see you again next week.
Yes, you will.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.